I
They're just
think it's just whatever social circles you're following online and you see it. Because it's like, it was constantly on BBC all fucking day.
Yeah,
And I
but
just
the
like it.
people in
But
Paris were threatening to poo in the Seine because there's this whole fiasco about it not being. Yeah, Rob Rice is really funny, but not so basically the River Seine has not been safe to swim in for like decades or centuries, whatever. And then obviously because of the water sports activities, the government have decided they were going to clean it, and like they put lots of money into it. And it's like, well, I think Parisians were like, well, why are you suddenly cleaning it now when you could have done this for so long? And obviously all this money going into only doing it because of the Olympics, and they've been trying to test like the levels of E. coli in the water. But then the like every month or so they had to run a test to get it to a certain point of like poo levels or whatever.
John levels.
And, but then Parisians who I think the French are really good at like protesting when they're not happy about something in a way that we're not. But they were threatening to protest by pooing in the River Seine to stop the Olympics going ahead.
It's so funny that like the Olympics are coming and you've just got a load of French people going, "Nah, fuck off! I've got to shit in the river."
Yeah, which is like, I mean, like, yeah, because everything I heard was just not good news. I heard burning like railway systems, and the performers going on strike because of like bad, horrible wages. And like, it's like, look, pay us properly, or we won't even bother doing the opening ceremony. That's the reason why I didn't think there was like it was. I don't. That's why I thought it wasn't like started yet, because I was like, oh, I've got to sort out pay again before they actually start.
Oh yeah,
I was
it's
like,
kind of
no,
gone ahead. I think people still are quite unhappy, is what I understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy around this one. I think they did a good job without it, but it's like the controversy with like Israel still being involved is one thing, and the fact that there's like the Netherlands athlete, I guess, the multiple rapist happens to be still like participating in the Olympics despite having like 3 counts of rape to his name, and they still haven't got rid of him. And you think like the country itself will be, oh no, let's show the best of our country and just let show how good the Dutch is. Oh, we're just gonna let one of our best athletes with like 3 counts of rape to his name still perform, and that's okay.
Oh man,
and
that's
like, why is that? Why are they okay with that? It's just horrible.
That's terrible.
Those two things aside, and like the pooing in the river and like and the thing on the train. Yeah, it's far from that. It's fine.
Yeah, the prime, not Macron, but the other one, like a woman. I think she's the President Macron, isn't he? I think she's like the Prime Minister, but she had to swim in it the other day to try and prove to everyone that it was safe.
Could you just imagine just swimming?
No, she actually had she had goggles on and she went like face down into the water to prove to everybody in the media and to press people that it's safe enough to persuade people.
I'm sorry, Corey, you came back into this crazy talk.
That was like that Indian politician as well, though, right? Because I can't remember what the situation was, but it was similar to that, and he took like a glass from the river and just downed it to prove it was safe, and he ended up in hospital.
What, the River Seine or a different river?
No,
like
river in
Ganges.
But yeah, he took a glass and like downed it to prove that it was like safe water, and he ended up in hospital like 2 days later because there was some kind of like parasite in it.
That's just like, it's like, I mean, like with a politician like that, at least try to prove his own point, right? I like you got to give him credit for that, but like, nah, man,
it's really like destroyed every credibility of the party now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I do rate the French for going like, no, if we're having the Olympics, then I'm shitting in the river. Fuck you. You know the best thing was actually there was a hashtag on Twitter and it was I poo in the Seine.
What's that?
I just can't believe it. It's just I didn't realize the opening was yesterday, and like so much stuff has happened. It's like, man,
what really took me by surprise, because I didn't watch any of the ceremony, but then I was scrolling through Twitter and a video of it popped up, and it was like I don't know what the name of the dress is, but you know when you see kind of like sort of Victorian era and they've got like the white face paint and like big collars and all that kind of stuff. So there was somebody dressed like that, and she was kind of like doing sort of like operatic singing, and I kind of stopped on it just because it was such a striking image, and then it went into Gojira, and I was like, oh, why a Gojira there?
Yeah, I heard about that. Gojira was like one of the performers. I was like, oh, I missed that bit, but I did hear that they were performing for some reason.
Really
Beyonce was there.
Oh, was she?
That's what I heard. I don't know if like because Beyonce was there to like introduce USA. That's
but I didn't see
there.
that.
She recorded something though. She recorded a clip, like a video, introduced the team. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Because I thought she was like actually walking with like the athletes. I'd be like, oh, that's. I thought no. I mean, like I thought that was like a very nice gesture for her. I'd be like, oh, that's nice of her. I guess. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's not okay. That's not as.
Snoop Dogg carried the Olympic torch.
Yeah, that was
the
a
dog.
good image.
But Snoop. I mean, like, I think it might because last time he did like he was doing the what was it? He was actually on opening ceremony committee with like Kevin Hart last time. I remember the meme about it. It's because it was like he was talking about it. It's like who's coming next onto the stage? Oh, it's Iran. Oh, actually, let's just cover our eyes. Are they off the screen yet? Are they off the screen yet? We don't want to look at the woman. We don't want to have any troubles. They're gone. Okay. Let's go. All right. Yeah. That's Iran. I was like, I don't know if that was racist or not, but I was like, I think it's okay. I guess. I mean, if everyone was laughing with them, I guess it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. Like seeing Snoop Dogg with the Olympic flame, I was like, man, if young Snoop Dogg knew that old Snoop Dogg was doing this.
People said it was like he had to like pretend it was a giant blunt. It was just as it was. It's like, yeah, this is my kind of thing.
Would it be so cool if he lit one from the torch, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he did, that would have been the. I don't know. I think it would biggest highlight. Just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fucking prep. Like props to him, dude.
He definitely do that 100% if it was in like Amsterdam. If the Olympics were there, that's what he'd have done.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I was watching this interview with him the other day because like him and Dr. Dre were over here last week. I think it was because I think they've brought out like a new brand or something like that. And yeah, so like he was doing this interview with this. I can't remember his name, but he's some radio host from Burnley. And the guy gave him a football shirt, and he was talking about like him wearing British football shirts, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't realise that you couldn't wear certain football shirts somewhere." And he was talking about wearing a Man United shirt in Liverpool and everyone booing him, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realise that you guys weren't cool with this." And the host gave him a Burnley shirt, and he was like, "Just make sure you don't wear that in Blackburn." And he was like, "What's with all these rules, man? You guys are worse than gang members."
Okay, you gotta go with that. That's just unexpected. All right. Now I heard Alec, but I can't see Alec. Your video is not on at all.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Okay. It was just loading for the longest time.
It's been loading for the past 10 minutes. I don't know why.
Yeah,
oh,
weird.
I've had this face for the most of the thing, just going. You talking about booing in the sun.
Well, I mean, it's your favorite. Well, I was gonna. No, I won't finish that. I was gonna say it's your favorite country that you can shit on.
It's not fair. It's not fair if they're doing the shitting.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, is Emmanuel is stuck at an event somewhere, right?
It looks that way.
Yeah. He said start without him if you want to, Simon.
Just give me 1 second.
Do you know what? What's interesting with this, Simon, is that well, not at the start of the year, but at some point this year, you said that your theme this year is to pick Asian films, and now the first, even though it's not technically your pick, But the first film that's on your list that isn't an Asian film was still in Asia anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I said Asian themed, to be honest, so it's kind of like...
Fair enough, it fits, yeah.
if it's technically speaking. But, yeah, it's not the only other.
Will your brother be scoring it?
No. My brother's participation is going to be like this. This is Hibiki. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, Hibiki.
Is that the
And
actual whiskey?
Yes, this is not
Nice.
this is not the one in the actual advert. That's a Hibiki 17-year-old, because that one's like 900 quid. Let's just say, give or take. This is regular Hibiki, which is about 80 quid. So it's like a big
Still a
difference.
chunk
Still
of
a lot.
it,
Yeah, that's still up there.
Oh, but it is whiskey.
yeah. Don't
And
forget to
after
do
all,
the...
No, it's
Channel
you need to
Roll,
say-
man, not Sean Connery.
Yeah, there's a distinction.
Oh,
look
blue
at
eyes.
it. Then afterwards you have to go for the best time. Suntory time. Then you have to have the director go, cut. Oh, but, all right.
Plot twist is iced tea.
No, this is not iced tea. That's definitely not iced tea.
I can
This
tell
is-
in your voice that it's not iced tea.
All right, that was the bit. But I'm still going to drink this. It's actually quite nice whiskey. But it starts with someone else asking,
Mike, why did you pick this film?
okay, Mike is not here right now, but Mike chose this film, but because he, as a person, really does love whiskey and like the history of whiskey. He loves the whiskey he loves the whiskey so much. Like he's been to many of the whiskey distilleries that he has been to, and when he went to the Yamazaki distillery with Suntory as well, he did notice a big poster that had Bill Murray in it. But I was like, but he's thinking, there's never actually been a real advert for it. Then he realized they've used the fake ad from Lost in Translation and made it into a real ad. And I was like, oh, funny. That's kind of funny. I was like, oh, that's a nice history about it, I guess. And it's like, there's a lot of history between just the director, who is Sophia, I forget how to pronounce her surname. Coppola. Her dad did an advert with Akira Kurosawa for a Suntory whiskey ad as well. And I was like, is that true? It's them right there, and they're filming like Seven Samurai right in the background. That's amazing. I've been her because it's her dad as well, right? It's to the point where Suntory has had their 100th anniversary, where they've made where she got asked to direct that advert with Keanu Reeves, and they essentially made a snippet of all of their like adverts from like all of their whiskey adverts, starting with her dad to like multiple other ones with Sean Connery instead, not Roger Moore. And it's just like all the adverts all placed together to make the 100th anniversary advert. And it's like there's a lot of history behind it, and it's like a thing that's always stayed with him. But it started with him seeing the poster for it, and it was just being, oh yeah, you guys wanted him to choose a movie. He chose one that stuck into his mind while he was sipping whiskey. I was like, oh yeah, it's a good choice.
Nice.
That's the main reason, yeah.
So it was on your list, Pat. Was it on yours as well, Ben? Oh,
I haven't actually seen it before until this week.
Neither had I.
Oh, it's a good one.
You've never seen it?
No, pass me.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Oh, I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, I've seen it like once or twice before, and I just couldn't. It's been a long while, right? But it's like it does start off very memorable with it just being, Scarlett Johansson's ass. It's just like, oh yeah, so and so presents but and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's an interesting way to start off the movie. And it's like, yeah, it's but it's mainly seeing this film again, and it's like, oh right, yeah, I remember seeing clips from other things. It's just like it just like pops into your head a little bit, but it's like a lot of things just like, because none of it is actually subtitle translated, a lot of it gets like lost in translation as the most literal sense. I feel like because Emmanuel is not here to just like collaborate and double check with me, I can't 100% translate what some of the people says. Like for the director, when he says all of that like stuff, and the translation, that lady was like, he wants you to turn your head and look into the camera, and he's like, wait, was that it? And it's like, yeah. It's a lot of stuff that happens in this film that aren't translated, but I think that was the point. I think you're supposed to infer a lot of stuff, but like, because me and Emmanuel, like, I've studied a little bit of Japanese, we hear like every third word is like, oh, you want to, okay, let's study, make it like if you're seeing an old friend again, and that's about it. I was like, okay, yeah. So a lot of it's like how you can interpret how everyone is doing, because from what I understand, the script is not like, a lot of it's Bill Murray improving. So it's like, oh, okay, just like, so this film is less like a story that's been written out, and more of a film that's been a vibe. And I guess it's like, how did you guys vibe with this film is probably the best way to say.
Yeah, I think that's quite like a lot of Sofia Coppola films are like that, I think. Like I was saying to Rachel last night, it's kind of like not much really happens. You just kind of like hanging out and having a nice time. Like it really reminded me of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Have anyone seen that? So like it's a similar kind of premise. It's just like somebody goes on a night out, meets someone else, and then you just hang out with them for that night. Like it's like there's nothing kind of like huge to write home about. It's just a nice experience to experience their night. And yeah, I like that kind of thing. Like it is what you make of it, right? And yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I could have hung out with them for like a while longer. I really enjoyed their relationship. No big point there. I just really enjoyed being in their company.
Yeah, I think at the end I said to Rob, I was kind of like, I feel like, I think I thought about, I sat there and I was like, did I enjoy that? And I was like, no, I really did, but I didn't feel like I like went anywhere, but then that wasn't a problem. At the same time, I kind of felt like it was just kind of stayed in one or two kind of places, and that was enough. Because actually I think I really thought they both acted were really great in it, especially Bill Murray. So it just was really interesting to see a connection kind of develop in quite a short space of time, and obviously in such a way that didn't kind of really matter. I agree with kind of what Alex said. It kind of felt like you just could have watched them, their kind of journey over a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're kind of like a fly on the wall of these two people randomly meeting per chance and whether it's chance or fate or whatever you want to call it. It's just a normal inconclusive event that just has a lot of impact going forward, and it's just like not much happens in this film, and there's no real big changes or big arcs or huge like plot twists or anything like that. It's very slow and very methodical, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get into it, but at the very end of the film I kind of was, and it was just like the final scene where they have to go back to, and Bill Murray's character just has to see her for one more time, kind of cemented in that this is quite a poignant film with a lot to say. Because I think unless a film, because at the point of like halfway through I thought it was really going to go down this route, but unless a film would have made them like basically sleep with each other and be really intimate and all that, and I thought that I was dreading that scene. I was like, this isn't going to work for me if they do that, but they don't do that, and I felt they had a lot of restraint. that they actually just stop that and they just want it to be kind of a platonic friendship overall, even if there might be this lingering kind of intimacy that they really crave. That it's the more important thing they found out is just like the connection they had with each other as people, and just how they are just like lost souls trying to find basically their soulmate in a sense, and that's who they found. And it's like the marriages that they're in aren't working, but we found these two people. They found this other person that's kind of speaks to me, and that's the most important thing for both of them. And they just have to like be adults and be like, look, it's not going to work. We're both 20 years different in our relationship, but the relationship wouldn't work. We just have to go back and do and go separate ways. But we just had this amazing week together, kind of thing, and that's what made it really quite emotional for me at the end.
Just on that, I think the opening scene of obviously of her butt. I guess maybe I think I was a bit like you, Ben. I kind of was like, oh, actually, are they gonna get together in the film? But it was quite kind of. I don't know if it was intentional to kind of set it up in that way. Kind of, her walking around in her underwear kind of half the time of the film in her hotel room kind of thing. But it was quite nice to see they didn't kind of go down that pathway, and actually it was more about the kind of intellectual, emotional connection that they had.
Yeah,
I appreciate they didn't do the. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really appreciate they didn't lean into the tropes. Like it's not like it's Bill Murray's ex-wife. She's still his wife, and it's not like he hates talking to her. He actually quite likes talking to her. He just needs a little bit of space, and I like that they didn't do the same thing with John. He's he's very absorbed in his job, but he's not like a dick. They're just not on the same wavelength at the moment, and I just appreciate that it's not them getting together. It's kind of why I assumed it was mostly like Ben said, a platonic kind of thing where they're not gonna get married at the end or anything. Which is why I found the ending, the final scene, a little bit weird, but we can get into that. But I liked how they didn't go to do the conventional thing that you'd expect.
My experience with this one, I saw it years and years ago. I don't know when did this come out? Maybe close to when it first came out.
2003.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
I was 10.
So I remember liking it, but this time around I definitely I was watching with more awareness and instead of just sitting and going through it. But it took me this time around. I felt like it took me a while to kind of sink into it. I kind of felt it took me a while to kind of really connect with the characters and the story. Maybe that's by design, it was pretty kind of just real life, nothing really fantastical going on. Which I really liked that. I thought the overall story was just so real feeling. But yeah, I did eventually come around to just really connecting with them, and their relationship was just so, it's just kind of just real life, it's not perfect and it didn't have a fairy tale ending, and it was just it had a lot of complexity about relationships in this one, which I really appreciated. But it had been a while since I saw it, so it was cool to watch it again.
What genre is it labeled as? Because just I guess what Corey was saying made me think that actually I guess you might think of it as being a rom-com, but it didn't really fit. It didn't really feel like it wasn't a rom-com. It just kind of, I don't know, that kind of steady pace and kind of things didn't feel forced. It did feel very it could happen, rather than dramatic, I don't know, placement of people to make things happen. It felt very kind of authentic in that.
It's listed as a comedy.
I always see it as a romantic comedy / drama, because there's always there is a little bit of drama close to the end, but generally speaking, it's still considered a romantic comedy. But romance isn't always, especially in this case of this movie, it's not always sexual. It's just sometimes people just finding themselves and other people.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
like,
it sounds-
I think it was just like, it's very nice. Yeah. It's like a nice sense to it, I guess. It's just like, oh, it's different because it's, it's how to explain it. It's what's the phrase that I love people constantly. It's strangers in a strange world, and they find someone who's similar to them, and they can kind of like explore the strange worlds together. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, I see how it goes, especially with them like eventually going to like a bar with her friends and just seeing them getting into like silly shenanigans. And it's just like, I can see where like their relationship slowly builds with each other, and it's like it's not like it's layered in the sense of like there could be more, but they don't have to be more, and it's like, and that's okay, that's fine, that's good. You didn't have to go extra about it, and that's a good thing that I didn't, which I think is to probably like the thing that Alec was questioning about, like the ending scene. I think a lot of people do question the end scene just a little bit, but we'll get into that afterwards. I mean, you, Pat, what did you think?
I really liked it, but I'd seen it before.
Oh, cool.
What was funny is I started it up, and I've got 5 minutes in, and I messaged Rob. I don't even remember this opening scene, and he's like, "Yes, you do." I was sort of sat there. I was like, I had to check to make sure that I had sort of stayed there for a while, and I was like, okay.
But you paused the screen.
I wanted to see if it was paused because it was like sort of stuck on my screen for. I nearly channeled bloody Al Pacino in Heat. But no, I really liked the film. Like I'm a bit like up and down with like romance-based films. But I really liked because it was not your sort of stereotypical Hollywood.
Mm.
And it was much more of like a friendship, two people from two different worlds. Obviously, one's partner is the other side of the world. May as well be the other side of the world, and I just think how they found each other. And they played off each other really well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I thought, oh, go on, Rob.
I'm gonna go.
I was gonna say I thought casting was interesting because I guess, like he's not conventionally kind of, you know, your Hollywood heartthrob kind of guy, and I don't think she kind of, even though I mean it's Scarlett Johansson, but I don't think they kind of like amped that up in any way. I think she was 17 at the time. She was quite young. 17. I think I saw an interview with her earlier, and she said that she was 17 when she filmed it. So, in a way, I don't know. It's quite. I don't know. I thought the casting was good in that sense. That actually he wasn't kind of like conventionally kind of super kind of attractive, and she was kind of not bigged up to kind of be, or kind of, what's the word, like sexualized in a way. Apart from obviously at the beginning, but yeah, I thought the casting was really great. I think she had to really pester Bill Murray to be in the director, not Scarlett Johansson, to be in the film. She had to write to him like loads because she really was desperate for him to play the role. Yeah, in the film, I think I read, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah, she was 17 and Bill Murray was 52.
52.
Yeah. Wow.
Whoa.
And the first thing,
You wouldn't think she was 17,
wasn't.
would you?
No,
Early
She did
20s.
look really
17,
young, but
really.
that's really young.
she was in her 20s at that point.
Mm.
And someone was saying here, well, the age gap is really jarring. I was like, well, that's just, you know, and relationships are 30 odd years apart. But it's not even a physical relationship, is it?
No, yeah, that's why it was. We were glad that it didn't go that route because of that
I-
reason alone.
I really liked the ending because it obviously, when the guys in the hotel, it felt like it didn't feel like. So he's obviously seen her walk down the street and got the taxi driver to stop so he could actually.
Oh no, Pat, you're cutting out.
Yeah, repeat.
Oh, fuck's sake. What did you hear?
Not much. Try turning your camera off, or I don't know if that helps with bandwidth or something.
How is it now?
Yeah.
What did you hear? Nothing.
You like the ending?
Right, I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
I heard everything.
Did you? I didn't hear anything. Cut out for me.
For me, he cut a little bit. I caught most of what he said, but.
Oh no, I didn't hear much. Did you hear much,
Yeah.
Rob?
No, I didn't hear.
No, I heard. Yeah, I heard that he liked the ending because of. Then it cut out. I know. I was like, oh, okay.
And then the hotel, and then that's all I heard.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
You know, it helps that her character wasn't 17. Like her character had like graduated college, right?
Yeah. I got the
Yeah.
impression she was like maybe like sort of like a
21
PhD
maybe?
student kind of age.
Yeah, she was a philosophy major, is what she finished
Yeah.
graduating.
So she's gone to uni.
Yeah, so she's not 17.
Go for it now, Pat.
That explains why I
Right.
remember reading the trivia for it. Oh, go on, Pat.
I'm on my phone now while I'm restarting my laptop, so I don't know how the sound's going to be.
Oh, it
It's
sounds
a
perfect.
This is good. We can hear you now.
Yeah, so your phone's better than your laptop.
Well, that's not a shock. Yeah, the ending I quite liked because obviously when they're saying their goodbyes in the hotel, it didn't feel like a goodbye. It was just like, yeah, I'm going now, bye, and then they sort of just walked off. But then he's obviously seen her down the street and got the taxi driver to stop and say goodbye properly. I thought that was quite nice considering what their relationship was like.
Yeah, I'm really glad they had that goodbye because I was not satisfied at all with the. There was 2 moments where they
Yeah.
kind of said goodbye, and then
Yeah, it's kind of like 3 goodbyes, wasn't it?
yeah.
Like one really half-assed one kind of like very formal one, and then the true one at the end.
Yeah.
And there was one point where he said, I don't want to go home. I was like, neither would I, mate. Neither would I.
Because you just
If
said
we're
about
talking
the...
about like,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, go on.
Oh, and actually, I might have been is something that we were talking about before, so maybe you should go. So.
No, just because Ben just said about the 3 goodbyes, it made me think of that thing that they say in Japan about how like people have 3 masks, and it's like one that's
right,
one
yeah.
that you show to yourself, one that you show to. I can't remember who you showed them to, but there's basically like the idea is that there's 3
I know what you
versions
mean.
of yourself that you present to different kinds of people. I wonder if the 3 goodbyes are like any kind of reference to that.
Maybe, yeah. One to
That's
show
only-
to other people, one to show to your friends, and then one to show to yourself. Kind of. I
Something
think
like
it's something
that,
like that.
Oh yeah, but
Because
like the
3
third one.
goodbyes- Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, because I was gonna say that the third one is the one that you don't show to anyone else. So I was like, I don't think that quite translates that well. But like,
It kind of does,
Hmm.
though,
Maybe-
because you don't hear what they say at the end.
Yeah.
you hear a little bit.
You don't hear
He
enough
said-
to know what it says. So like,
Did he say to her, that was the face that you don't show anyone else? And she went, oh.
Yeah, I had to look that up because I was like, obviously, yeah, they must have said something. There must have been something in the script there is, and it's kind of vague online as well. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure May will come in and tell us the trivia later, but it's something like it's very kind of very vague, and it's always meant to be vague. It's kind of like meant to be like you interpret that however you view it, and it's kind of like you want him to say what you want him to say, kind of thing. It's not specifically one thing or another. And so there's
I'm
kind of
gonna-
a conjuncture in what he actually does say on the script.
Mm.
I'm going to choose to believe that he said Rosebud was the sled.
Rosebud.
Online, it said that somebody did take the film and like do some dubbing or whatever.
Mhm.
Then he says something like, what was it? Like, I have to go. I won't let that come between us, okay? Or something like that. That's apparently
I have
what
to
he
go
said.
now. My planet
Like-
needs me.
But Sophia Coppola, if that's her name, said that actually she didn't tell him to say anything. The plan was that she couldn't think about what the last line should be, so she was going to dub something in afterwards. But she was just said like say something in the ear and I'll get it right what I want you to say, and then actually decided to leave it with it not being decipherable instead. But I said to Rob last night I really liked it because I think I spent the whole film, I guess, like being lost in translation, not really understanding what's around them, and then in that kind of moment, I guess, was for them to understand what was between them, and for us not to kind of hear or kind of be a part of. I really like that it was left in that way, that actually only the two of them know what they said and what that means, and yeah, I thought it was quite nice that actually a whole kind of few days or trip of feeling quite lost and not understanding what's happening around them or what people are saying to them, actually they understood of what they said to each other.
Say the line.
Line.
It was lost in translation.
Oh, it was lost in translation. Here we go. Yeah, so I thought that was good.
This is where it just goes, send nudes.
A last minute decision for, like, she was initially planning on dubbing something in. I never knew that. It bugged me to the like not know exactly what he said. That's hard.
I googled it straight away. I was like, what was said?
Yeah. But like and what I was gonna say about the 3 different goodbyes, like I like how they're just entirely different moods, because there are 3 of them in 3 different distinct situations. Like the elevator goodbye, like they were completely alone and there was like so much tension because they had so much freedom in their goodbye, but like maybe too much. And then the second goodbye in the hotel lobby was just so public and they're like surrounded by strangers. But the third goodbye, they were surrounded by strangers, but it was like chaos. They were like, in a way, they were alone, and then it took some of the pressure off of them, right? Because they weren't entirely alone, but they were like virtually alone in a sense. So, yeah. Yeah,
that's a cool detail. I hadn't picked up on that.
Yeah,
I did not pick up on any of that.
I think also in the lobby, I guess that's kind of like where he is. I can't remember what his character's name is, but that's where he's the actor. And like, what's his name? The character's name?
Bob Harris.
Bob, yeah. But like that's where he's the actor. And obviously she, in a way where you see lots of people throughout the film kind of recognizing him for being the actor, she didn't ever kind of acknowledge that at any point, really, apart from I think when she asked him what he was doing there. So I guess in a way, yeah, the kind of public of the lobby and kind of who he was, but actually in the square, well not square, but the street where it was busier, actually kind of, there wasn't, nobody knew who he was, and it was just kind of who he was to her in that space and in that moment, because of, like you say, the kind of chaos around as well. No one was really paying attention to who he was, and I think that was there for them, the right moment for them to kind of have that right goodbye as well. It's nice.
Yeah. And I think I heard somebody mention like describing their relationship as more of a friendship, but I felt like there was like so much like I could see why romance is part of the genre, because there is so much like romantic, like intimacy vibes for me between them. I don't know.
I found it to be I was surprised that they kissed at the end. And I think it was because like I just there was something I read like years and years and years ago about like how they frame couples who are romantically involved, and there's like a lot of symmetry involved, and there's something called visual lines where they'll usually frame shots so that like furniture or walls or that there's just something leading like to them to sort of like put them on like kind of a path to each other, or when they're talking to each other they'll usually have lines linking like in line with their eyes and their lips and stuff like that. And there's that I noticed it in like a later scene where they're sort of sleeping on like the bed together, and there were absolutely no visual lines, and all that was between them were like these sheets, and it was all just folds and wrinkles, and it was just like complete chaos between them. and she felt comfortable sleeping next to him, and she was sort of like this, and she had her feet up against him, and he was sort of facing away from her and like kind of like a respectful sort of. Why is Simon laughing?
No, because like unfortunately, I know which thing you're talking about, but I got really distracted, unfortunately, because he then went and touched her feet, and I just got really distracted by that, and I was like, when did he become Quentin Tarantino? I was like,
Do you not touch people's feet sometimes? Do you not touch like a close friend's foot every now and then? Obviously not Rob's.
Not a close friend's foot.
I mean, like, okay, let me ask you: have you touched my feet?
Yes.
No, you haven't. Just okay,
maybe you didn't know.
Okay, but like it was a bit. I understand what you're saying. I actually understand what you're saying because I feel like that was done in the scene a bit earlier. You know when they're outside the karaoke room and she's got the pink wig on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's like the weird like vertical zebra lines or something, right? And they're like sort of like to a point where she puts her head on her shoulder, and it's kind of like a symmetry, like in that sense. And he puts her his head on top of her head, and it's kind of like inverted triangles. But I was like, I see what sort of like how literally is the background of the triangles are pushing them together, and it's like, I think that's quite a nice sort of like imagery where you can kind of see their like relationship develop more, but it didn't quite cross the line, especially with the bed scene. It was like, it didn't quite get to that part yet. And I'm glad it didn't. But it's like I see how they were more sort of like connected together.
Well, what I was gonna say was, I don't know. No, what I was gonna say was like this kind of. I thought that's sending me like a clear message at that point. Me and Ed both agreed, like that just sort of like confirms that there's not anything that there's sort of like a something, but there's not. It's not like a serious thing between them necessarily. It's not like a full blown like romance. There's a definite like kind of attraction with each other, but whether or not it's a sexual attraction, I wasn't convinced. And then just seeing like all like the sort of visual lines being just sort of nonsense between them, I was like, okay, so it's not that. So, and I thought like that's kind of like in a way that's sort of like a more romantic kind of love when it's not sexual between them. It's something that's just kind of like they just really like being near each other. They're just really into each other, like just kind of personality wise, like spiritually, like what have you. So I think when it got to all that, and then it ends with like a very like passionate kiss, and I was like, hold on, I didn't. That didn't. I don't know. I think I'd have preferred like a very very long hug or something, but maybe that's just because I'm British and like just seeing sexual desire in people just rankles in me. But like, I don't know. I just thought that was a little bit. I don't know. I just didn't think either of them were like there. Does that make sense? But
I think they didn't know. I think it was almost like they didn't really know what they were to each other, and I don't like kind of like not dancing around the idea, but I think it was kind of almost like I was obviously learning from each other, consoling one another in a way, and kind of like I don't know, like the only time, not the only time. I think there was a kind of like a yearning, but I think it was more because they saw things in each other that maybe they were looking for in their lives or with their partners, and it was kind of like, could this be something? But as you said, not really thinking it was gonna possibly or potentially couldn't go anywhere, maybe because of age, maybe because of other factors. But I think her song choice at the karaoke was interesting in terms of I can't remember the lyrics off my head, but it was like, but you're gonna see me, or I don't know if anyone knows it, but yeah, I thought that was quite interesting in terms of almost her using the song to maybe being the younger kind of, I don't know, kind of like flirting in a way, and kind of maybe hinting that something could come from it, or something more could happen. So yeah, I thought her choice of song kind of, I guess, struck me as maybe her being a bit more flirtatious with him than he'd ever kind of been with her, or he ever was with her around the film. Kind of, I can't remember who said it earlier, but kind of think he felt that he knew he had something at home which wasn't completely miserable and dire, just wasn't in the best place that maybe it has been before. Whereas I think she, being younger and at the start, maybe had more of a doubt of what was coming, whereas I think he knew almost kind of what he had in a way, but she wasn't kind of sure of what she was going to have. And so therefore maybe the song choice and the flirting was almost like, oh, this maybe actually something else better is there kind of for me. Yeah, instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like they came together mostly out of like circumstance, really. I was thinking of if they met each other in like America and they were both in their usual lives, like would they have like been drawn to each other as much? I feel like since they, you know, she was alone basically alone in Japan, and he was basically alone as well. And I think they just like, you know, happened to notice each other and kind of like cling on to each other for whatever they could get while the time they had there. I don't know. It was really, but I did really, even though like relationships can be born out of circumstance like that, it didn't necessarily take away from like, you know, the authenticity of like how they feel necessarily. But yeah, one particular where I feel like it really defined them as like as defined as you could be is when she got really jealous when he slept with that other woman. I'm like, okay, there's definitely, that's what's signaling to me that there's something here. And like he understood why she felt that way too. Like it wasn't completely one-sided. So it was very complicated, really interesting.
I thought it was really interesting watching like the banter between them change like before and after that scene, because the one before that is when neither of them could sleep and he like puts a little letter under the door and they're just sort of having a little bit of like a jab at each other. No, it's not like a big, I don't know, it's just kind of like a little fun exchange. But then after that happens, it's kind of like she says sort of like similar things, but it's way nastier. I did write it down. I'm gonna look for it, but you kind of notice like in like the kind of the initial sort of one, like Bob's not like that critical of her, whereas in the thing like when they're in the very awkward sushi restaurant, he like he says something about like, oh, did no one pay you enough attention, and it just makes her like shut down completely, and it's just kind of like, yeah, that was, if you wanted to piss her off, that's what you say. Like,
yeah, it's very awkward, like shabu, like she was such, he was very snippy, essentially what it is, and he just literally just shut her down with like what, I can't remember what he said, right, but he said a comment now, so like this like stop talking, essentially was, and it was so awkward. It took until like that night when there was a fire alarm for him to go, man, lunch sucked. And it was like, yeah, lunch sucked because, you know, you're being an asshole. But it was like, you know, but he had to go and then blame it on like, yeah, what sort of restaurant makes you cook your own food? You know what I mean? Jesus. It's just like, you know, it's like, it's such, there was so much tension that they built up already because the relationship was quite good until he slept with the jazz singer. And afterwards, when you can see like there was an extreme look of disappointment when she heard jazz singer singing, and it was just like, oh, okay, so so this is the type of man you are, and it's essentially it was just like, ouch. You could just like it was never said. You just saw her look, and I think that's great acting, especially with like, you know, ScarJo being like, as you guys saying, of 17, and it was just like, oh, very simple, but because it's so simple, it makes it very, very like onto the pot, straight to the point, and it's like that's some good acting that way. And it's like, yeah.
What did you think though about? I guess I'm thinking now about his decision to sleep with the jazz singer. Yeah, I don't know what were people's thoughts about that. And it's sleeping with her, and, like the jazz singer, and not Scarlett Johansson, for example.
Yeah, that
Feel
was
it-
interesting because that was a conflicting thing where it's kind of like he must have been conflicted himself, where he was like, I need something, but it can't be her because he knows it's probably morally not right, but he still has this affection and obsession with her, and he kind of like, not that he wants to take his frustrations out on, but it's more like he's kind of like he doesn't know what to do, but at the same time he's kind of like he's just like taking any opportunity he can just to kind of like scratch the itch to an extent, and then maybe just like seeing if that satisfies him. But then after that, he's still kind of not satisfied. He's like, no, maybe intimacy isn't what I need. Maybe it's more than that. That's how I took it.
It was a little. I mean, it was because he did finish that phone call with his wife about the burgundy carpet, right? And he felt like in the circumstances he was a bit alone, and she was there talking to him, right? And like one thing led to another, which led to like that very interesting like double twist of like camera work, where you see him on the bed by himself, and the other side is like completely neat and tidy. So it's like, oh, I guess he didn't sleep with her. Then you cuts to like the table settings for two people and the two wine glasses. And I was like, oh, he did sleep with her. Right, that was an interesting like framing shot because it was like double twist. But like it's just like circumstantially, he had a moment where he didn't feel like he was like, I guess the best phrase is to say like he felt by himself and he was unloved, and like and afterwards, you know, he was just drinking by the bar like by himself, and being like real like upset and moody and like kind of like, you know, just like in that sort of like deep mood. Then afterwards she was like, can I get a glass of champagne, and she was like, hi, and it was like circumstance just like built upon that, and it was like, oh, it's not a good thing. But it was like, I see where it went, because there was a funnier version of that in the earlier part of the movie, where the scene is where they had the massage lady that was called by the company to come and give him a massage.
Oh god.
Yeah, that was so fucking awkward. But if that scene happened then, it would have been, you might have slept with the massage lady instead. And then I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, just circumstantially, it could have happened that way instead. And it was like, he would have been like, oh shit, it'll be the same thing, like where he sees like the two bottles of the two flutes of champagne, and it was like, oh right, ugh. So it could have happened that way circumstantially, but I was like, you don't know. It's just like, I see where the thought process was. It was unfortunate for thought process, but I see where it got to that point.
I reacted to that scene with the masseuse exactly how Sofia Coppola wanted me to react to it. Because I was sat here like, why does she want him to lick her tights? Like, it makes no sense. And then the more she said it, the more confused I was. And then when he said rip, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I nearly pissed the first time I saw that. I thought it was so funny. And she was just like, no, get off me, Bob Harris. And he was like, please get out. And he's like, he's trying his best to lift her, and she's just not helping him out like at all. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then he falls over and he hits the lamp and all the lights go out. And I was like, nah.
Like, when you see that scene, you
No
can't go,
notes.
okay, that's why she needed Bill Murray to do this.
Honestly, Bill Murray was on form. I don't think there was a bit that I didn't laugh at.
I don't think he's ever off form, to be fair.
I wanted to quickly weigh in, and I was really disappointed that he slept with the jazz singer. I thought that, and he knew, and you know, when he realized that Charlotte was at the door, he didn't want her to, he wasn't looking forward to Charlotte realizing what was happening. And it honestly makes me not think that highly of him as a character. Like, they were both, in my opinion, they were both like I guess you could call it like emotionally cheating, and like so neither of them were coming off that great. But then Bob Harris kind of piles it on with 2 women, and I was disappointed. He like had something, kind of, as far as cheating goes, like they were at least like experiencing something really kind of like special and nice and intimate. And then he just goes and throws that wrench in it for what, So I was disappointed for sure.
I wonder if it's also the like. Oh, sorry, I don't know if that was Rob or Alex, but yeah, like a self-esteem thing though, right? Because I don't think he necessarily had. I think he was so like fed up with his life in a way, and kind of where he was at, and obviously going over to Japan for, what was it, like $2 million or something like that? He was getting paid or something along those lines. So I think there also was like an innate dissatisfaction in himself, and I think kind of maybe if like seeing that it probably wouldn't happen with Scarlett Johansson, or it wasn't right to have it happen with Scarlett Johansson. So like Ben said, kind of either scratching that itch to kind of see, actually, is it that I'm just sexually frustrated, and actually that's why I need to do this, and where does that then leave me with my connection with Charlotte? But I think there also was maybe like I don't really know if this would happen with Charlotte, so I'm going to kind of take this off. Like, this woman's obviously into me. I think I think the jazz singer knew who he was, or he said he was who he was. Maybe again like a self-esteem thing, that maybe he didn't think he'd kind of get confidence from Charlotte, or kind of a clear answer from Charlotte either, about kind of what was happening between them and so on.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think there's another component of it. I was trying to when I was trying to like track what each scene was sort of doing, I found like a lot of his jokes kind of come out when he's trying to deflect from what he's really feeling, or he's trying to soften what he's really feeling. So like I think it's like the very first one actually, where he sort of shows up and he's weirded out and everyone's sort of there and they're like, "Hello, Mr. Harris," and they're giving him all these gifts and they're like, "Your car's coming in the morning," and he's like, "Wow, okay, short and sweet, nice, very very Japanese." And it's like, it's not like a great joke or anything, but it's an example of how he sort of is telling jokes to feel more normal. So the one that happens, so the interaction he has with his wife just before hooking up with the bar singer, he's actually being upfront with her, and he actually like he tells her what he wants to do, and she's going on about like the carpet swatches, and he's like, I'm just lost, and she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Just with everything," and he starts talking about how he wants to like start eating healthy and like no more pasta. He wants this and he wants to do this, and like it's actually like the first time that you see him actually being like clear about what he's doing and not hiding behind his sense of humor. And I think the shock of that, I think like because he's so used to doing that, because it's in every interaction, every time the director's pissing him off, or he's trying to flirt with Charlotte or what have you, it's always behind a joke. And that time I think is like one of the first times where it's not behind anything, and I think the shock of that possibly exacerbates the decision to hook up with the singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she called his wife, called him to ask about it, and he was like, I don't know, right? I don't know what is happening in my life. I don't know what's happening at home because I'm not there. And she was very short of him. And it's like, oh no. She says the phrase of like, I want to eat. He says the phrase, I want to eat like in Japan, and she says the phrase very sarcastically, why don't you just stay in Japan then, Bob? All right. And it's just like, he's trying to reach out. He's trying to talk to you, because he's your husband, right? And he's trying to ask if my wife for help, but she doesn't help him. Just very like, well, just stay there then. And it's like, well, fuck, you're not help. I'm trying to ask for some help. You didn't help me. I was like, all right, fine. And after she just ends the call, and he just sits there in that like bathtub, like, and it's like you see the process for it, and I'm like, I mean, I'm upset that he did sleep with the jazz singer, but I can see that the process through his mind, the step by steps where it got to that point. So I don't blame him 100%, but it's like he tried to be like a good dad and stuff, but it's just like it just got too far away from him, and it just like he just crumbled under his like own self. I guess it's probably the best way to describe it. And it's like, oh, Bob, you could have been better, but like I get why it happened, and it's unfortunate it happened that way. But he's like, oh, sad. And I was like, oh, I guess. But I guess it started off already when he first already received that, when they were greeting him with all like all the gifts and stuff right at the beginning, where he got that like, I would like to say fax, where his wife was like, "You forgot your son's birthday," and then it's like, fuck. And it's like you already started on a not good point, and it's just like it just kept getting worse for him essentially. And like every time we received like, I guess Pat just disappeared. But I guess like when it got, especially because he got that fax machine in his room, which is a very bougie thing, especially during the 2000s. I can't believe someone getting a fax machine in the room. God damn, that's bougie, especially during those times. But like he got like the fax machines, and then it's like, and he got like the things from like the FedEx with the burgundy. It's just like it was so many things that were sort of like mundane and like just annoying for him. But it's just like, I'm trying to do right by you, but you're not helping me, because it's like, again, he said the same exact thing what I was thinking when all those fucking like carpet snippets came out. It was like, which one is burgundy? And I just like cracked up so loud. Because I just like, yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely. Which one is the burgundy? If it was like labels or something, I was like, okay, you could make a choice, but it's like the red one, all red, the mauve one. No, none of them are mauve. The burgundy one, yeah, the burgundy one. Do you like it? Yes, the burgundy one, 100%. Yes, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're right about that. It's the burgundy one. You're absolutely right. Yeah, choose the burgundy one. He was trying to be so helpful, but he was just like, it's a point like you can't say he wasn't trying. He was absolutely trying to keep everything, together. But it's just like it was just slipping from his hands, and it's just like, oh, it was sad, but I was like understandable to a certain point. And it's like I get that as his character. That's why he was finding friendship and like companionship with Charlotte, Scarlett Johansson's character Charlotte, and it was like I see where he was trying to connect with someone else that was similar to him in this like strange place. But it was like it could have been better. But it's like I get everything. I kind of get everything and how it what was it? I guess builds up upon each other. So it's I guess story wise it makes sense. It's just like you didn't need to sleep with the jazz lady. You could have not slept with her. But like,
It did add a lot of interest to the story, and it did help, kind of like I said, like the resulting interaction after that, like how they dealt with that new development. It did kind of, help me kind of figure out what they were really, Yeah, it's too bad.
I mean, the question would be, I guess, to ask you guys would be like, do you think they were, at the end, after they shared this, do you think they were in a relationship? Or would it have been like, not really a relationship? How would you have described that, like, ending scene? Because I would like to say that they were in a, like, I don't know how to describe that relationship at the end. That's the problem. how would you guys describe it? Because it's like a relationship, not relationship. A sort of like fling, a one night stand. That's not right either. It's like I can't describe that relationship. I can't. I'm struggling. How would you guys describe it?
I would say fling. Fling sounds right. Like,
Okay.
but and it like a substantial one. Like it's so weird because they have so much like intimacy, but they're not really like it's not a lot of sexual intimacy, obviously. But it's still like they hold hands and they like sleep, like lie down in bed together and have serious conversations and touch feet and there's definitely something there. I think that from how I help myself to frame it is like I try to imagine if I was one of their partners, if I was his wife or if I was her boyfriend, and that's where I'm like they definitely crossed a line. That is not just plain friendship to me, and I wouldn't be happy to hear about that if I were like one of their partners, but yeah, it's definitely something.
Well, take note, Ben. If Bill Murray starts touching your feet, you fucking off it.
Well, Rob, we're in a bit then, ain't we? Because your foot was on my face before.
It was about 12 years ago now. I didn't.
His foot was in my face one time as well. I was very, very concerned. It was specifically his toe, and I went, ugh.
I hate Rob's feet. I don't like.
I think
my feet being touched either.
we staged this at Download because everyone was grossed out by his feet.
I think you just need to chop them off, mate.
I need to find it.
Oh.
Pat is the only person I've ever met who's not repulsed by him. So there's something special there.
I don't like feet in general, to be fair. But I don't know if fling. I don't know. Fling feels like. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like connection or bond. It just felt deeper than a fling, because it was intellectual and emotional, I think, rather than physical. I don't know why. I think fling feels more physical. I think there was like I don't know, like connection or bond is probably how I'd describe it in response to your question, Simon. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's the thing. I feel like it's something a little bit more spiritual than that, but that's why the kiss at the end throws me off, because that just makes me go like, oh, okay, well, I guess it, okay, fine. But that's why it's fucking with me a bit.
So a bit more than a fling, not quite a one. I mean, they didn't sleep with each other, so not a one night stand. It was.
I agree. I agree with Corey that it's not entirely innocent.
No,
but
you're not.
But I think it was more innocent than what a fling implies. I don't know. It's just really a new word for it.
There's got to be a term for it. Like the only reason I like fling is because I know flings are short. So like they both didn't have any intentions on carrying it on. That was it, so.
Yeah, unless there's like the Lost in Translation 2 where they
Holiday romance.
The Lost in Translation cinematic union.
I went and the first thing that comes up is throw or hurt forcefully. But obviously that's like.
Are you just reading a thesaurus? Or
What's the word fling now?
A short period of enjoyment or wild behaviour. I don't really think that defines their relationship, really.
That's what you were describing you failed on the toilet last week.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, I thought... Oh, I mean, no, as I was saying, it's like... I thought, like, especially with Pat being here, I thought, oh, what did they say at the beginning? What's the relationship at the beginning of Greece with? And it's just like, oh no, that's still called a summer fling, right? And it was like, oh, I know. Yeah, so I was like, I guess a fling is probably as close as we can get to what their relationship is, unless we find a thesaurus specific word. I can't think of it right now. If you guys can, yeah, I mean.
I just feel like fling implies sex, which did not happen.
True, but it's like.
I don't know, to be fair, because I think fling's appropriate in some ways, because I think the only reason that you kind of look at this relationship as if it's like so nice and so lovely and whatever is because they don't get to know each other well enough to see each other's negatives. So it's like, well, maybe it is a fling from that point of view, because it's, you know, it's nothing that's more well formed than that, because they haven't had the time to.
I mean, they only knew each other for about a week, right? I mean, it wasn't even supposed to be that. It was only because Bill Murray went, you know what? I'm gonna stay and do that weird like a TV show appearance just so he can stay longer, just to be with her just a couple more days.
I felt so bad for him that he had to endure that, to have a shit date with her.
Yeah, that's what that was like. I mean, like, TV shows can get weird. Japanese TV shows even more so. Fucking hell. It was like, I've seen some of the Japanese TV shows, right? And some of them are goddamn hilarious. Like the ones where the guy is like trying to decide in the room of stuff which food is like actually food, and you just see him bite a shoe, and he's like, I don't really want to bite the shoe. He bites the shoe, bites chocolate, and it's like, what the fuck is this shit? It's amazing. It's a pretty amazing like TV show. It just like it was like is it cake show, but it's like it was like, because it's Japanese, it's extreme with like the visual effects. Even when he watches his show back onto the air and the host is going with the big heart shape, and it's a big like it's just so much editing just for him to go heart, and it's like flashing lights and everything. It's just something about it. Just see Bill Murray's face going, yeah, and it's just like nothing happened. It was so brilliant. I could just see that scene. It was just like he's dying inside so much.
I feel for him in that scene.
That's so
he's like, am I gonna have to fucking dance?
Brilliant. So stupid, but brilliant. All right. So, talking about the relationship stuff, the Scarlett Johansson's boyfriend character, who's can't remember the character's name now. It's
John.
Is it John? I don't. And then after you have the blonde girl, who I know is from scary movies. Can't remember her name.
I swear you said. I swear when I said John, you went yes, John Hurt, and I was like, that wasn't John Hurt. Completely different. Anna Faris is who you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, I don't know how their relationship is. I don't know. Were they like exes or stuff, or were they just like people that they worked with each other?
No, she was. He was working on her set. She was a film star, and he was the photographer.
Yeah. See, I really like that as a dynamic, because it's like when a film star comes from his world, it's someone that she can't relate to, but when she finds one on her own, then she can.
Yeah, it's the thing, because like she was, and Ferris's character was very like, I don't know how to describe it as anything else. I was gonna say an it girl, but yeah, vapid is probably She was very everything, a lot of energy in her character. You know, even when she was doing like the presentation at she was doing the interview at like the hotel, and she was talking about, I was doing so much stuff with the karate and all that stuff, and it's just the two posters of her in like a gi, and it was like, oh yeah, it's just very out there, very much. And
I think that was needed though. I think her character was needed in a way of like, in a way, when you think about John and I guess Charlotte not being particularly happy and dynamic, like I guess Anna Faris's character, I can't remember the name, like Kelly maybe? Kelly. I don't know. Like, was it Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I guess could have been more suited to John because of the world that they kind of came from, like that's one point. But then I think if Charlotte had been like Kelly, then she wouldn't have had that connection with Bill Murray. So I think in a way, like, it just, I think it was needed to kind of contrast Charlotte's character and kind of the world that Charlotte lives in, and then also I guess that connection with Bill Murray and why that kind of his personality or how he was kind of resonated with her, or she felt she had a connection with him as well. So I thought, yeah, I quite liked the addition of Kelly for that reason.
I mean, yeah, her character was definitely needed because it allowed her Charlotte to have that disconnect with John, which is leads her to go wandering around in the city, very lost, but still coming back to Bob as like that companionship. Because she went around Tokyo, right? It's like, God damn it, Emmanuel, we're still not here. But it's like they went around Tokyo, and they went around a lot of places in Tokyo. And it was like, oh yeah, it's like that's yeah. I mean, there are certain parts where it didn't make sense. It's kind of like you go, oh yeah, she just left Shinjuku Station, but she's next to Tokyo Tower. But it's like that's just some geography thing. So I was like, because it didn't make sense. Like it just didn't make sense. Like if you was to actually go there, but it's like because she went there and she had that I like to say insomnia about it, right? Because they both were very like, oh, I can't sleep. But I was like, you're in Tokyo. It's very much like New York City. It's quite like 24 hours. Go out and do stuff. There's stuff to do. There's stuff open. Which she eventually does when she goes to the arcade and plays, and she sees just the people playing like Guitar Hero and like the awesome drum game, which I can't remember the actual name, but it's like the Japanese version of Guitar Hero, which I've played before when going to Tokyo. It's something very satisfying. Is hitting a big drumsticks and just playing along to like any sort of like pop song. It's just something very satisfying about it. But it's just like I feel like because John was not around and she had to keep herself busy. I feel like it's just like she had opportunities to do stuff, but she just wanted to be with John, I guess. And it's just like even when John was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the bar and like I've got this Christelle and it's all this stuff." I was like, "Oh, yeah, can I come with you?" And he was like, "Oh, did you want to come?" And it was like, "Sheesh." And it's like, "Yeah, of course she wants to come. You know, you're the husband, she's the wife. You know, it's kind of a thing you go together as a couple. It's a kind of a thing, you know." It's like, but I digress. It was kind of like it was a bit slow on the like approach on like what to do with her, because like he was stuck there doing the photography for like the band and stuff, and she was just like, you could have stayed at. I know. I mean, like in his mind, he was like, you could have stayed in the States. And it was like, you didn't have to come, but you did come. And it's like, I don't know what to do with you. And it's just like, I don't know. It seems there's a lot of stuff that happens, and especially the way that it did happen. And it's just like, again, I get the thought process of how it went there. It just seems she was also stuck reading those like self-help books on like, oh wait, not self-help books. No, there was like self-help books like Finding the Soul. And there was just like something about that. I was just like, I don't know. Usually people who usually do this are really bored. They either start reading self-help books or start just knitting, and she did both. So it's like, you know, you're just like, I see where you're stuck in a rut, and it's just like, it's just like, it seems much. And just like, but it makes sense to see how it goes on. See, like essentially you just see how each character and where they start in this movie and how they build up to the points where they eventually have their fling. You just see they're trying to be like their best person, and even when like Charlotte's like lonely and she calls home, and he's like, again, you know, she's like, yeah, you know, just like I'm just enjoying yourself, you know. I did the like Ikebana, which is like the flower arranging places. Yeah, you know, just like, you know, trying to like live and blend in with do as the Romans do. But it's just like she just doesn't, because because you can hear like the crying in her voice. She does. I mean, you see it in like the film, but like you can hear it in the voice. But it's just like so much of it is there. It's just like, I get people being strangers in the strange world, but it's just like it has layers. It gives character development for each of them, and that's what makes the characters interesting, is to see how they develop.
I hated that phone call. Was so sad. I felt so bad for her. That friend was a piece of crap. Couldn't even tell that she was crying. You could hear that she was crying, and her friend was not. Her friend was just like, "I'm busy. I'll have to talk to you later." Blah 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 blah. But I just felt so bad for her. She was trying to reach out. She was all by herself, feeling like she touched on her marriage. She's like, "I don't know who I married," and she was like clearly in a crisis. And her friend just like was completely oblivious to how she was feeling. Or oblivious, or just didn't care. It was just so sad. I felt really bad for her.
Mm.
Yeah. I think I like the scene preceding it, and it's when she goes and watches Anna Faris doing a talk promoting her film, and she just sounds like the most vacuous person like ever, and she's just, oh yeah, me and Keanu, we really got on because we both have dogs, we're both from LA, we both like yoga and stuff like that, and it's just like. But then you can see Scarlett kind of going like, oh, what a shit. And then she walks into the thing and like the flower arranging bit, and like the lady goes konnichiwa, and she goes hello, and then like you can just tell she's just kind of watching these people flower arranging. She's just I don't know. I think there was like some really good camera work where like I could tell she was going like, how do you know where to put these bits? Like how are you doing that? Like why do you like it's just a complete mystery to her. She's watching it with just like assuming the camera's like her POV. It's just yeah, you can just tell she's just trying to make sense of it and go like, I don't know how you're actually like ordering these things. There's no book or anything to work off of. You just
I think that was quite like important though. I think that like there's a lot of snippets, I guess, where she actually did I guess observe like Japanese culture with the flower arranging, and then I think there was a wedding that maybe kind of came out when she was by a temple, and there obviously was the kind of temple gardens and the tree. I don't know, there were the ribbons on the tree kind of thing, but I think there was kind of almost like you said, kind of where Japanese culture maybe has a lot of traditions and kind of way of doing things, and things have a lot of meaning in a way that she kind of was craving in her own of life. And I don't know if she kind of like, what say, should I say, I don't think they kind of dwelled on that much, but I do think that whole kind of idea of where she was at in her life and then kind of seeing all these things kind of happen, I guess kind of around her that have quite a lot of meaning and a lot of purpose as to why kind of contrast perhaps how she was feeling in her own life and kind of feeling a bit lost with everything as well.
I mean, it was like, I guess a large culture shock for her, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. Because like for like the flower arranging, I think as that's just art in itself. It's like an art is like, well, I mean, art is subjective, right? But it's just the thing about it. When I saw that scene, I was like, can you just walk into a class and the old lady would just like take you to a place? It's like, can I do that in England if I wanted to do like pottery? Can I just go up into a place and the guys go, yeah, here's a piece of clay, make something? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It's just like, I can't, I mean, pretty sure you have to book those classes. You can't just walk in. I can't just go, here's a plate.
What you do in that situation, Simon? You go, do you want to do that bit from Ghost?
God damn it. Oh yeah. It's like, but yeah, she got, yeah. In all seriousness, she was there for the longest time, for the shortest time, a week, and she had like just culture just going around in Japan, doing the flower arranging, seeing the arcades where people are a bunch of people smoking, playing Guitar Hero, and seeing when I was younger, and I saw like the guy, she was like looking at the dude reading the manga, absolutely thought he was reading hentai. He was not. Again, Emmanuel's not here, so I can't like discuss it with him mainly. But essentially, he was reading a comic book, and there was a naked lady on the comic book. I was like, are you watching porn? And he's like, no, he's reading oh, I've got the name of it. It's called what is the name?
It's called Not Hentai.
It really isn't hentai. It's a seinen magazine. It's kind of like it's the guy. The reason why I know it's a seinen magazine. There's another scene where literally there's a picture of him holding the sword. The guy was about to commit seppuku, and the lady is the person who's going to cut off his head. It was called Fubuki. It's a very old seinen magazine, kind of like Berserk or like Vagabond. It's a very just like, oh right, yeah, it's very traditional Japanese. But yeah, she was literally just about to cut off his head as she was about to commit seppuku, and I was like, oh, didn't know that when I first read it, and I had to check Reddit just to see which magazine, and someone actually pointed me to the correct page, and it's like, oh, so that's the backstory behind it. Again, culture shock, because like she was doing all the things that, I guess, very touristy things, I guess, because she went to a temple when it was in service. She saw someone's wedding. She did the like what I guess is a charm or like a paper reading that they get like when you go to temple. I guess it wasn't that great, so she like tied it to a tree just so for better luck. And it's like she did all those like things, but she still couldn't like. She didn't get it, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. She was still very lost in this place, and it was like, I don't know what's happening, right? It's like the same, the kind of like seeing everything, and all of it's kind of pretty, but she was just like, still just like sitting there lost in like translation. She was just sitting there, just being confused, and it was like, yeah. And she was just because she was just sitting there confused, and there was a shot later where she's in the taxi, and and it's filmed from outside the taxi, and it's just like filming her face, looking at like the lights and stuff, and she's just like sitting there in awe and wonder. And I think that's very nice. It shows you like she's just like she's enjoying herself. She doesn't quite get everything, but she does like she is having a good time. And the second part of that is like, I'm surprised that they got. I don't know if they got a license to do that, because you're not allowed to do that in Japan without getting permission, because you get arrested. It's literally a thing where I can't believe it was quoted for Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. They were doing the filming for the cars, and essentially they hired the guy to pretend to be the director. And the police came, and they're like, so who's the director? The guy was like, yeah, it's me. You're under arrest. You go to jail for a week. And it's just like, oh, God damn it. Could you just imagine like, go for like, just go, being just, the police go and go, did you have permission? No. Okay, so if you go, you're going to spend a week in jail. And it's just like, oh, damn. It's like, yeah, you need planning permission before you're allowed to film. But it's just like, I don't know if she's got it or not. But I could just imagine that she gets stopped by police to go, yeah, you're not allowed to do this. You know, it's just like all those things that is happening.
That's pretty metal.
question, I guess now before we go to favorite scene, this is a little tidbit question. Any of you guys interested in going to Japan?
Absolutely.
I feel like I've done it.
It's on my bucket list.
Will Scarlett Johansson be there?
That's a good question.
Be.
Will Bill Murray be there?
A very good question.
He might be as well. But it's
so I've got to say, what I didn't expect to come out of this going like Bill Murray's really sexy, but it happened. Just when he's carrying her, and I'm like, I'd love to be carried by Bill Murray. He just seems like he's got really strong arms. Or when he was pushing around in the wheelchair, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Oh, imagine Bill Murray in like Days of Thunder. That'd be so
pushed
good.
around in the wheelchair by Bill Murray.
Yeah. Days of Thunder 6, yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, wheelchair race. Bill Murray. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay.
Sorry, just for you guys. There's a bit in Days of Thunder where Tom Cruise is John Cruise is like a race car driver, and he gets in a big crash with like his rival, who's Michael Rooker, and they both wind up in the same hospital, and they're both in wheelchairs, and they both kind of like turn a corner, see each other, and you can both see him go, and then they start racing the wheelchairs, and it actually makes me piss. It's so funny. But yeah. So I just love the idea that Bill Murray comes in with Scarlett Johansson and just railroads him.
Oh, Emmanuel's here.
Yay.
Hey, he made it.
Hello.
Hey.
All right, see you next week, guys. Bye. Yo.
I mean, to be honest, I pretty much expected that. It's just like, yeah, it's really late.
Well, we didn't even get to favourite scenes, mate.
Yeah,
we're
still before favourite scenes.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I mean, we're just talking about just relationships, Japan, and the smoky, oaky taste of Hibiki whiskey. Suntory. Sorry. Anyways, yeah. So how did
you and your brother you brought to the wedding the Japanese whiskey?
Oh no, the one that I bought you a whiskey was the one that I like a little bit more is Toki, which is the blended whiskey. Hibiki is also a blended whiskey, but like Toki has the more modern one. It uses the other sort of like Yamazaki whiskeys. And oh man, I can't believe I'm talking whiskey with you guys now. Yeah, but like the Hibiki is this one, which is the one I've got right now. It's the small oaky smoother one. The one that he did in the movie is the 17, which is again very nice, very expensive, like 900 quid expensive. But yeah, this is it's some good stuff. But I guess the question is, what good stuff did you find about this film, Emmanuel? Because you've become a bit late.
What good stuff did I what?
I thought I froze. Oh, I mean, I guess I am freezing. Damn it! Wait. Give me a second.
I can hear you. Just say it again.
Okay, so video connection is probably a bit weird. That's why I turned it off. But apart from the good whiskey stuff, what good stuff did you find about this movie?
I think probably both of our kind of favorite parts about it was obviously you can comment on this as well, was how they both really needed a friend to kind of just kind of let go, just like do something else, like think of other things and kind of talk to someone else, but also not properly talk to someone else. And yeah, just they were good. They were company for each other, and that was kind of cool how that developed. was probably my favorite part. I think both of our favorite parts of it.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think it was quite. Sorry, that's way too close to my face.
Sorry.
I think it was, yeah, they were just kind of what each other needed in the moment, and it was really nice just seeing them connect with someone when clearly they are so disconnected from the people around them. Like her mum doesn't really get her and isn't really trying to understand her reason for being sad, and clearly like things between him and his wife aren't fantastic. So yeah, it's nice that they have that. That's what I liked about this film.
Yeah. What were y'all just talking about? Oh yeah, you said relationships, Japan, and I don't know what else.
Sorry.
Well, but one of the questions that we had essentially is, how did you find the kiss near the ending of the movie? Were you weirded out by it? How did you find it to be like in the relationship in this, as we've discussed it, to be a fling or not? How would you describe the relationship, and how did you find the kiss at the end of the film?
I thought it was nice because it was kind of implied all the way through that. Okay, so I thought the film was more of a romance, like they were clearly together like through all of it, but it was really more of a friendship for most of it. But there was kind of the implied attraction. So I thought it was nice that they shared a kiss, but then just went their separate ways. It was a bit weird that he does look like he's like one of her dad's friends or something. Like, because she looks so
That's how
young.
I get anywhere.
He was 17 when they filmed it.
Oh,
He was
sorry?
17, yeah.
He was 17 when they filmed it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that does make it kind of.
But the character I think is meant to be like obviously early 20s.
Yeah, she's supposed to be like, she's a graduate. She's supposed to be like what, 22?
Or 23. No.
No, I can't remember when it was she graduated, but yeah, 22 or 28. Yeah, her being that young does make it weird. But in the context of the film, while it's like it's a bit odd, it doesn't feel as gross because you've kind of got a good context for the relationship, and as I say, there's that kind of like implied bit of attraction between them, and I'm glad that's kind of all that happened, and that's kind of, it didn't go any further than that. I liked that about it as well, but then you disagreed.
I didn't dislike it. I just wasn't basically I liked it the same kind of way. Also to add to what Camilla said, he was very hesitant to kind of do anything. He didn't force himself on her or try to create that situation. He was very much he just kind of like stood there. Didn't really do much or say much. But basically the only thing I wish they did was at least had each other's contact details to stay like every once in a while, just call each other, or as I was saying jokingly, pen pals. Back in the day. Just to kind of like, because it was nice for them, that friendship they had was good to have someone else they could talk to outside of their situation. They didn't feel like they really had someone to really properly talk to. And I felt like whatever happens in the future, that kind of friendship would be good to keep. That I thought that would be nice. Yeah, even if they don't really contact each other much, but just once in a while, I thought that would be cool. But otherwise, I was fine with the ending. Um, yeah,
I can see
I
why
think the
back
only
then though you wouldn't have been able to like not as easily swap your contact details because like if he's going back home to his wife and she's going back home to her husband, like it's kind of hard to keep that kind of relationship going in 2003 where everything's a bit less kind of because I mean now it's like everyone's got their own phone and it's quite easy to be private, but back then like the house phone would have been more of a thing. And
also, Bill Murray's wife is pretty hot on that fax machine. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You're asking for trouble there.
the thing is with oh sorry, I was gonna say with. You want to go first?
Oh no, you go. You go.
I get what you're saying. From my point of view, while he's probably gonna stay with his wife, and hopefully they're gonna go to some therapy, because if they haven't already, it sounds like they need some therapy or try to anyway. I feel like she's gonna leave her. Carly Johansson is gonna leave her partner, husband soon, because that is definitely not good for her. But even then, I feel like he spends long times away anyway, her husband, for work, and is very he seems flaky. Just, I mean, he is, as an actor, he plays a lot of, this is I guess not a scummy role, but
he's not scummy.
He's not scummy. He's just a bit.
He's just absorbed in his job, to be honest.
Well, he's not the. I mean, he slept with somebody on his work trip.
Yeah, and like from what I understand.
Huh?
So good.
When did he sleep with someone on his work trip?
The jazz singer.
The jazz singer.
No, I thought you meant John.
Oh no, I was talking about Bob.
Oh.
Well, we're talking about. I was talking about Scarlett's partner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was just obviously at the beginning she's complaining, and not about the trip itself, and then you see a lot of other problems, communication issues, and all sorts of other things. It seems there's a lot of signs that point towards her like leaving from that very soon. But with it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's necessarily trying to keep the like a actual romantic relationship, but just a friendship. I also don't think Bob's wife, maybe I shouldn't call him Bob. Sorry, Bob. Harris's wife. I don't think Murray's wife. There you go. Anyway, I don't think she would really care of him having some friend, like some kind of work friend. He contacts quite like here or there every once in a while. Like, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they should be in regular contact.
I don't think I'd like that though, because the dynamic's really weird. Like,
yeah, it's like a longing between them.
Yeah, and it's not like given his age, as I say, like he is old enough to be her dad. So if you're not going to have a romantic relationship, then it's kind of more of a almost like a mentorship. Oh, he's very wise, giving advice on keep writing, and this is how life changes when you have children and all the rest of it, which is fine to have like an older friend that like can dispense life advice, but it's also an older friend that, as Rachel said, there's like this longing between them, this vague attraction.
I can't imagine.
It just feels it's just a bit
not strictly platonic, I think.
Yeah, it would need to be like fully 100% platonic, and like she can be like besties with his wife and like know his kids and stuff like that for it to feel like not a bit weird.
I can't imagine he comes home and goes, by the way, honey, no problem or anything, but I met a girl while I was out there, and I touched her feet once. It was totally fine. It was very consensual and all that, but nothing happened.
Nothing
We're
happened.
gonna be in. We're gonna be in regular content now. Like, you know, just no. You know, it's completely fine. Everything's above board. There's no need to worry. Just like, yeah, that's definitely gonna flop.
I mean, I'm not saying he should be saying that. That's definitely cheating.
Yeah. God, and then she like shows up and she's like, "Oh, it's Scarlett Johansson." Yeah, I definitely believe nothing happened here. She's definitely not like 20 or you're 52. Get out of my house.
I also think like oh man, I also feel like with time things can fade depending how things go. But what were you gonna say, Simon?
I wasn't saying anything. I was just cracking up. Sorry, I was just.
Oh, expected. Carry on.
I think though, I think Corey made the point earlier that like if this had happened in the same like their home country, USA kind of thing, like it wouldn't be the same. I think it's like the environment that they're in and the situation that they're in that kind of creates that meaning and that kind of like longing for one another. And I think kiss at the end, I think actually kind of thinking kind of what everyone's saying is almost like the closure. It's like the end of kind of like acknowledgement that there maybe was something. Gives her the kind of maybe the satisfaction of knowing that he did feel something towards her. He didn't sleep with her, but he did feel something towards her. And it's like now we're going to go back to our normal lives, and this is kind of the end, kind of so to speak. But I did feel something for you, but it's not gonna. It's not necessarily going to go anything further. Maybe whatever he whispered to her, kind of like a acknowledgement of they had.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will say to Manuel as well that I think what was nice about the kiss at the end, that it kind of, as you said, it brings an end to their story, but I think it also kind of gave her some confidence. I don't know. I just felt like it gave her this kind of confidence to like try and move forward with her life. Like you've had this almost romance type thing. You felt a happiness and a friendship and a connection that you haven't had with your spouse. And I just kind of felt like that. I got the impression that it gives her a bit of confidence to kind of move forward now with her life instead of following her husband around when they're both kind of both seem over each other.
The thing is, I don't think the husband really seems over it. He's just.
I think her husband just thinks like he's not trying very hard though. Like your wife is unhappy. She seems quite unhappy, and you're just kind of.
She hasn't changed her panties in weeks.
Yeah.
She's only got one pair. She's walking around in it all the time.
Like, remember that that conversation that I noticed where he said he was going to go downstairs and have a drink with Kelly, and she says, "Oh, I'll come with you," and then he's like, "Oh, okay, you want to come? That's okay, I guess." Like he totally didn't want her to join in on that.
I thought that was because she's quite a like smart ass academic kind of, and it was more like a. You don't really want to. I'm surprised you'd want to engage with somebody like Kelly because you're quite used to being quite sarcastic or around kind of academic people, rather than oh crap, like I can't flirt with Kelly because you're downstairs. Kind of, I don't know. That's how I took it.
I like from what I read off of whenever I saw John interact with Kelly, I thought he was trying so hard. Like I got an impression that he like liked Kelly or just like wanted. I don't know. I got that impression a little bit.
Oh, I thought it was like career development, like contacts.
Kind of. He had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Not a chip on his shoulder, but he had a bit of a kind of. She thinks that she's better than the people that they kind of spend their time with. At the beginning, when he's like, not everyone went to Yale, and then later on when he's like. When she says that the people in LA are what she say, snooty or whatever it is. I just kind of feel like because she doesn't really fit in there, but he is at least trying to fit in or get on in the kind of circles that they're moving in. But she's quiet and she's more intellectual and blah 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 blah, and she doesn't really fit in. That they just kind of seem like they belong in different places. So I think, as you said, maybe it's a bit of both. Like he wants to flirt with the other girl, but also he's surprised that she wants to go with him. But I also think he thinks that feels like she's above it and better than kind of that kind of
It's not really
the
that.
conversation.
Yeah, it's just like at the end of the day, if you, I don't know, yeah, the type of people you enjoy company with, I also wouldn't enjoy company with those two that he was hanging with. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm sorry, I gotta go somewhere.
I thought you'd quite like someone beatboxing at the table, Emmanuel, and you could do a little tune alongside.
That guy, he was a cool music guy. Like Camilla was saying, he's the type of producer you find who's not really good at actually making music, but he's just famous enough. He's got like a model as
Yeah,
as a
like he's got a
girlfriend.
model girlfriend and like he DJs at cool parties, but he has no actual discernible talent or interest in what he does, except from kind of the gain he gets from it.
I like the idea that this guy comes up to Emmanuel and he's trying to impress him, and he's just like, "Hey, check out my beatboxing." And Emmanuel just goes, "Yeah, all right. The AI on my phone actually can do that way better." And then he just starts doing it straight back at him.
Say boots and cats or whatever it was. He's able to make Siri stop beatboxing. I don't know if that still works.
Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, this where I was going. But yes, I agree with what. Oh yeah, that was it. I think it also felt like like Camilla said, it felt like since Scarlett's character said or Charlotte, that was it, said he changed a lot. Yeah, it did feel like he was trying to fit in a lot, and he wasn't good at it. It didn't like whatever circles they like kind of moved around and grew up in was not the kind of circle he was usually in, and he's really trying hard to be in these circles. And I was just like, why are you trying? I mean, I know why you're trying, but I mean that you can pick those friends. That's okay. I'm okay, but yeah, it's just yeah, it doesn't seem like the relationship would last any.
They don't seem very compatible.
No, they got married really young. She said they'd been married for 2 years.
You said about the money.
Was that?
Camilla was saying something about if depending on their backgrounds where they came from, like if they came from a decent amount of money or whatnot, that might be just something they do. How did you explain it?
I was especially because of what the mum said. I can't remember what it was that the mum had said, but the mum had said something, and I was like, I kind of feel like they're from like they're a bit upper class, and like what you do is you get married and you follow your husband around on business trips and like be very sociable and stuff. Like you get married like straight out of college and like be a professional wife. She did philosophy, which isn't really a career degree, and then had the ability to not work and just be like, I had nothing going on, so I just came to Japan. And I'm like, that feels like a wealthy person thing to do. Like I feel like most of us would be like, I did this degree that doesn't really take you anywhere specific, but since rent has to be paid and we have to eat, I have a job, and no, I can't afford to go to Japan and just sit in a hotel room and wander around. So it just feels kind of like, I don't know. And also the fact that like they're both clearly young, but he is doing well enough as a photographer that he's on business trips to Japan and staying in a luxury hotel. Just doesn't feel like regular early career kind of stuff, unless some really good connections or some really good money play into it. Or both connections and money. I can't remember the context of that, sorry.
No, that was exactly what I was saying.
What was it? Okay, cool.
Thanks. But sorry, Corey, I might cut you off. You were saying.
Oh, I was just, that was related to what I was saying, is I did catch on that they're married really young, and that makes for a difficult journey, because like brains aren't really fully formed until you're 25. So like people are changing quite a lot in that time period. So for you to like make a relationship work throughout that is challenging.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, you really, I guess you really have to look out with being with the
right person.
Yeah, the right person.
I don't think it's that. I think it's less of looking out that you're with the right person and more having the good luck that you both change in a way that you change together and continue to grow together.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because
it doesn't, the way you change doesn't end up coming against each other.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, you have many couples that happens to even as they grow older.
But yeah, when you're young, you do change so much. I mean, I'm very glad that I'm not, didn't end up with whoever I was with or interested in when I was 22. That would have been a disaster, and I think that's the case for most people. So, some people it works out for, but I feel like the majority of people it kind of doesn't.
I wonder, like, if we ended up meeting each other earlier on, if I would have annoyed her.
Yes, you would have.
Too much. The person would have been like, "Nah, I'm out."
I enjoyed how instant that was. That was just a yes. You don't even finish the sentence. Yes.
I had a lot of growing up to do, because we've talked about this, because basically when I first moved to London, I worked near Canary Wharf, and I'd go to Canary Wharf a lot on lunch because there was nothing to do, and I'd wander around, and I went into the Maplin he worked at several times. So it's like if we didn't actually, like, we might have seen each other in passing. We never met, but I was 25 then, and even though we met just a handful of years later, it was still like, yes, I had growing up to do, and also you were married then, so.
Yeah, but even if that never happened, that's a whole nother story. Obviously, I didn't have enough coping mechanisms in place. I feel I had a lot to work on in terms of, I guess, living with someone else, in general, and functioning as a unit.
I didn't have patience, which I still have now, but I had less.
You guys are alright, yeah?
Yeah, you're right.
It's getting real deep.
Yeah, we're fine.
Let's move that on. Yeah, let's move on to Emmanuel. Where I mean, like, if we had a chance to go back to Japan, would you go to, like, where would you go nowadays? Would you still go to Tokyo?
Where would you come from? Where would you go? So on.
Where'd you come from? I thought you were about to quote that, Alec.
He's leaving the incorrect, not incorrect. He's leaving incomplete data. Sorry, this is not a curse. It's a reference to something else. There's two types of people. The type of people
Fifthly, can extrapolate from incomplete data.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. As just to kind of complete that, there was a comment on one of those posts. And so it was like, I have this as a shirt. You can't believe how many people come up and ask me, so what's the second type?
You.
Fox.
It's just so good. I'm glad you know that you've seen that. Anyway, in terms of places I would go back to in two different situations. So I think we will eventually go there. More like a family trip, me, her, and her siblings, and maybe her niece, one of her nieces as well.
I've got one niece.
Oh, yeah, true. And her niece. It's because you've got so many cousins that are the same age as your niece, and my brain mixes it up.
My cousins have so many kids that are the same age as my niece.
Yeah,
Although I do also have a cousin who's the same age as my niece. Yeah,
that
I've
as
got a
well.
big family.
Anyway, so that will depend on them. But if it was just me and Camilla, I would ideally. I would like to visit a range of places up and down the country. So take like a 2 to 3 week kind of holiday. I would go back to Tokyo because obviously it's still nice to kind of see it. Um, go to Kyoto, Osaka, go to different villages. I would
The Cat Island.
Cat Island. We
No,
saw
'cause
quite a few cats.
You don't need to go to the cat one. You want to go to the bunny one. Bunny Island is better.
I go to where the cats are. I may smuggle one home, but the bunny place also sounds good.
But I think
Bunny Island is awesome. But
oh, bunnies are cool. I didn't realize I didn't remember there was a bunny island. But
I
basically,
didn't know that.
I would try and go many places, many of the kind of classic places to go.
it brings back to the question that we had in the film. It's a question of like, because they had like their somewhat insomnia, let's say, they couldn't sleep, but they were in Tokyo. I just feel like there was more that they could have done, and there's nowadays a lot of things that you can do in Tokyo, and I think it's quite fun to do. But that's like in a question in of itself. My other question is Ben and Corey just like asleep, or are they like I'm not sure if they're still there or not. Or we should move on.
I'm here. I'm just eating a snack. I'm eating a
Okay. Cool. I was just like, I just feel like
food.
Okay.
And Ben's very quiet.
Yeah. I mean, like he's not eating bento. It's different.
Ben's
Anyways.
He's the snack.
Okay. Yeah.
What-
Damn it! You
what-
said this joke before I did. Fuck.
What I would say to the first thing you said is it makes sense. Like he's having a midlife crisis and she's stuck.
So probably jet lagged, right?
Well, yeah, there's that, but that also, yeah, mentally they feel pretty sucky. So it makes sense. And yeah, there's plenty of things to do, but they're not really like Bob is he didn't want to be there in the first place, really.
It was like 2 million.
Huh?
No, but the reason why he was there was a $2 million ad. You know, you had to stay there for like a couple of days, drink some iced tea, and go, yeah, Suntory time. He gets $2 million. So it's I mean, he had reasons to be there, but it's just like he didn't want to be there. That's just the point.
Yeah, I think the main thing though, because I don't think the money was the biggest thing that just helped. He mainly wanted space from his wife. Like he wanted to get away from his situation. Because even when the guy first gave him the chance to make even more money and meet some big person in 2 more days, he was kind of getting tired of the place. He was just like, you know what? Even though I wanted time away, it's not worth it. Let me just go back home. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. No, that's okay. They can still hear me all right. But yeah, he didn't really want to be there. So it kind of made sense he was doing that. And she was more in a kind of haze of, I'll wander around, come back. I don't really know much else what to do. I'm kind of directionless, aimless. I found it funny how she went to the game arcade place, and I like the sound design. It's like, yes, that's how it feels to be in that place. It's just overwhelming sound. Like no staff really around. I mean, we didn't really you don't really see much in the movie, but yeah, it's like, yes, that's how it is. That was a great representation. But yeah, I'm not surprised they didn't really do more, because I mean, it was cool that eventually they did kind of get together with the kind of people who were just, I don't know if you would call them the kind of so, social societal rejects in Japan, because maybe some of them are not so much like, when I say that, it's too simplified, but I feel like it's a mix of people who are taking paths that the family don't approve of. You've got mix of people who are just comfortable with money and maybe the family do support. You've got a mix of many different art types who are just chilling with life. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But they're like with this group of people who are just kind of having a fun time, going to karaoke. I'm just like, that's great. I also do wish that was more of a thing in this country growing up, because I think that's great. But anyway, yeah. What was the point of all that?
Wait. Are you talking about the group that got kicked out of the bar afterwards, right? The guys that. Yeah, are you talking about the group that got kicked out of the bar by getting shot with the BB gun?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
that was cool moments.
Yeah, but like, technically speaking, it's kind of like the anarchists of like the social norm. Essentially that always happens. You get kicked out of a bar, you go to a house party, smoke weed. But only in Asia do you afterwards go to a karaoke place. That's the best way to answer your question, because they're in Asia. They go to a karaoke bar afterwards, and it's like, why do you go karaoke bar? It's just the place that you go to afterwards. It's just a thing that you do. I don't know. It's a very typical Asian stereotype. But it's just like, let's go to karaoke bar. Yeah, but I mean, like when you and I went to karaoke, we only had half an hour, right? And I only had like a couple of pints before we started singing. That's the reason why I didn't sing. But it's like, you need to stay a longer time at a karaoke bar. But I digress. Yeah. We'll drink more before we hit a karaoke bar if we ever go to Japan again.
I'll go karaoke. That would be great. You can sing Disney or whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
And just those two categories.
Yeah, very much.
The greatest showman.
Disney and whatever you want. Those are the categories.
You want to go?
It's not Disney.
No, that's Greatest Showman. Sorry.
No, you were singing Let It Go.
No, great. Impossible come through. It's taking over you. This is the greatest.
No. Yeah. Stop singing it. You got You gotta summon John from the depths from somewhere. If John just suddenly appears on the call, he just it's like, wow, it's amazing.
See, it'd be great. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a very typical Asian thing to do. Just go to karaoke bar. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, it's kind of late now. Do you want to do favorite scene?
Well, I mean, keeping on topic, mine was the karaoke. Like that's the bit where I was kind of going like, yeah, I feel the joy in this interaction between the two of them. Like this is where I kind of get what's going on a bit, because I felt like I could feel the joy of being in that bar. I thought the way it was filmed was lovely, the way it was acted was lovely. I thought everything about it was just really nice.
Mine was also the karaoke. Well, I have two actually. Mine was also the karaoke, but for a different reason. I think it was the kind of first time they probably both like seemed to really relax, and then I think also your song choice at karaoke is really quite important. I think kind of what says quite a bit about you. So I thought it was interesting. Like, I think he picked, was it? I want to say a Costello song, but I could be wrong. Like, his song was obviously very much of his generation, and hers was a bit more kind of like, she had the wig on and she was kind of a bit more flirty and kind of how she was delivering the song. And I thought it was kind of a different side to their characters than maybe we'd seen before, because they were a bit more relaxed. And then obviously, I think it was kind of her signaling. I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember the lyrics, but it was like, you're gonna see me or something like that. And I think it was kind of her, making some kind of suggestions towards him. And then the other scene I liked, I think it was a hotel room scene, but I can't remember exactly, but it was more of a line that she says around like, let's not come back to this place again, because it won't ever kind of be the same, something along those lines. But I think you just kind of highlighted how much it's like a moment in time that's never gonna, like, accepting that it was never really gonna go beyond that. It couldn't, but actually it was quite like a recognition of that kind of moment between the two of them and how special that was, and it couldn't be replicated again. So I thought that was quite a nice line as well. These are my two.
Nice. I have two. Oh, sorry.
No, you go first.
Okay. Yeah, I have two as well. Well, it would have been three, but I'll pare it down. Because there are two different categories. One is a funny one, and one is a more serious one. The funny one was like when I think the first point in the movie where I laughed out loud, where Bob Harris is by himself working out on an elliptical machine, and he's setting it to go like it's faster and faster, and he's just like, he's still going at it, and then out of nowhere he's like, help. That just really, that's just classic him. He has no problems making me laugh. And the more serious favorite scene I had was the first kind of time where I feel like I'm really spending like quality times with the characters, like really getting a feel for them, getting to know them better. And it's when they're lying in bed together having like a really heart-to-heart, and she's talking about like how she doesn't know what she's going to do with her life, and he's like reassuring. Then they're talking about like, does marriage get any easier and all this stuff. Like, I don't know, it just felt like I was really getting to know them a bit better. So that was one of my favorite scenes too.
What was your third one?
The third one was another funny one. Is when he was waiting for her in the hospital, and he was talking to that little man. And the two women behind,
Best scene.
Yeah.
In the background that are like crying, laughing, like.
Yes. Yeah,
well,
those women crying. Yeah, that was really funny.
Best funny scene, because you could tell. Like, favorite funny scene for me was definitely that scene, because you could tell that those two ladies were just like cracking up, like, listening to him, because Lal Man was like asking. He asked, I'm pretty sure I like heard it as like, how long you been in Japan? And Nandesuka, and he's like, a nan in the sky. What? It was so because he just couldn't invert anything he was trying to say, and it was the literal lost in translation part. And he was like, yeah. I'm pretty sure the old man said, yeah. How long you stayed in Japan? Where did you go in like Japan? The way he goes draws a hat, where he draws his hand signals. And he was like the Nandesun. And he was like, what's that song? I don't know what that song is. And it's just something about him repeating it. And it just cracking. Those two ladies were just cracking up so much in the background.
Yeah.
And it was just something about that scene which is like the best favorite, like funny scene for me. It's just it felt very wholesome somehow, but it's just really silly. Great scene. Absolutely great scene.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I do like it when like the scene's more like that where it's more of a lighter scene and he is kind of trying. It's just obviously he doesn't know. So he's trying to engage. Um compared to when he was first there, he didn't really want to be there. He also wasn't really trying, and he was just kind of fed up. And it was just like, this is annoying. It's just like, it's more because like, yeah, he isn't trying, and it's just frustrating. It's just like, yeah, he really is just here to get away. Um, but yeah, that scene was funny. I think my favorite scene is one mentioned twice already. But it's pretty much the whole part where he sends a message through the door to say from the hotel say, "Are you awake?" They're just watching some random Italian film, like with Japanese stuff. So they definitely don't know most of what's being said. And then you have the kind of heart talk afterwards. And then she just kind of like pushes her feet on him, and he's just like, "Well, okay, I guess my hand's touching them." Which, as Camilla was saying, is a kind of intimate area. So it's you don't just get strangers to touch your feet.
Strangers touch.
Unless you're who's that director?
Quentin
Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew y'all would know. Anyway, say that the most Simon is the term. The most I feel like I said outrageous thing, outlandish thing, and I don't think we don't get the context of it until afterwards. But he felt really tense and asked for a massage. Now he must have like I don't know, either called for the wrong service or asked for the wrong thing. I don't know how this happened. But then the lady comes up and it's just like, yeah, rip my tights. And he's just like, what? What? I don't understand. It's like, I just want a massage. Rip my tights. And I thought at first, I actually thought she was saying lick. She was trying to say lick
Yeah, I thought the same.
instead of rip my tights. Which makes sense. I was like, oh, rip. Like, she actually, but I'm watching it on a but this town's not great. Where we were watching it, so it made it even more confusing. Like, what is she trying to say? And then obviously, you know how the scene devolved, and he's just like, oh, goodness, whatever, and then touches her, and then she's like, "Ah," and he's like, what the crap's going on? And then obviously later on, he gives more context to Charlotte. It's just like it was my tension was replaced with pain. Like like I did not want any of this. I just wanted a massage. Like how did this happen?
Do you know what? You mentioning that scene has made me realise I should clarify something that I said earlier, because I was talking about that scene and I've just realised not everyone does what I do. And actually on the subtitles it says lip.
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn, that's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, I watched with captions on frequently, and so I knew exactly. I knew she was saying lip the whole time. I never thought she was saying lick. Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Why they put lip instead of rip? Because for a Japanese person, she is saying rip.
Yeah.
Rip is how they would say it if they were trying to say it and they can't, like, they haven't learned how to do the R's. But we couldn't. We wanted subtitles. We actually couldn't. We was watching on Amazon Prime, and
The week in the hotel.
yeah, and I don't know if anyone else could, but ours wouldn't. They had no subtitles with it.
I think it was a TV problem, wasn't it?
No, like even when I was playing it in the app by itself, it had no options for subtitles.
I think it's
What,
because
like a
for some
limited-
reason Amazon write their own subtitles rather than using what's available to them.
And they're
Yeah.
always shit.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have subtitles. Weird. I guess it could. I did turn them on, but just like, oh, it's weird.
I would have played it on Netflix, but my Netflix ran out and I couldn't be bothered to ask for someone else's. So I'm sure I could have. We were just
Oh,
like, just get through the movie. Huh?
Could have asked for mine.
Yeah. I knew I could ask someone else, but I was just like, you know what, it's here. Let's play it. We didn't really have much time. So we watched it in bits and pieces over the last 2 days. And to be honest, it kind of, even though, yeah, I could understand like a bit of what's going on, like mostly, it still, even without understanding what's being said, the point still kind of gets across. You're also meant to be kind of lost in translation to kind of get more where where they're coming from. And so, yeah, to be honest, it's probably a more, I guess, a closer experience to what they wanted you to experience, to have it without subtitles. To be honest.
If you're watching a film at the cinema, you don't have subtitles. So yeah, that is the experience they expect you to have, because
Unless it's a special screening, but yeah,
if
for
you
most
go to
people,
the cinema, it probably doesn't have subtitles.
yeah.
That's why it's important to learn different languages, just so you can have that range. Like when you watch, like, Inglourious Basterds, just her learning just a little bit of French helps build everything into context.
Yeah, I do really like I try not to let it bother me many times, but I do like to know everything that's being said, include it in another language. But I know sometimes that's the intention, that you're not meant to be able to understand every single word.
And you will literally rewind something several times to hear what was said.
Yeah,
I'll
but
do
like,
that too. I don't like
Yeah,
missing stuff. Oh, it's hard. It's hard.
but it kind of like is the point. It's kind of like with this. What was the film that? Oh yeah, it was like with The Thing. If you knew Norwegian, you would understand that they're saying it's not a dog, it's a thing, and it's like ruined the story completely. So it's just like you give way take. It's just like, oh right.
Yeah, I don't know, because like sometimes I know that I'm not supposed to fully understand what's being said, but sometimes I wonder, surely I just didn't catch something because of like me, I wasn't paying attention, or like maybe like I feel like some actors like don't enunciate very well, and so it's like I wish I knew exactly. So for my own peace of mind, I do like to know more than less. I don't know.
That's the whole thing, Corey. I'll send you a video from, I think is it Vox
I think
or
it's
yeah, it's either Vox or one of the kind of a similar channel video on YouTube. Yeah, it's a very whole thing. It's a whole thing. Long story short, these days more people go toward realistic dialogue, which can sometimes be quite mumbly and not completely clear.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's the whole thing and why a lot of more people watch with subtitles on
Yeah.
compared to when we were growing up, and it was very important to enunciate very clearly and loudly. But
Oh, I hear it could also be an issue of like, I'm listening from my TV's built-in speakers. Like, could that be part of it too?
yeah, that
Yeah.
is part of it as well. TV speakers are worse. That you've got slimmer speakers, and unless you have a sound bar or proper speakers or sound system, and not everyone does, then yeah, you're missing more things.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
But maybe Emmanuel, you would understand. Like, it's just really too bad. Have you ever seen a film that offers the rare English subtitles and it's not closed captions? So it's not describing, ambient noise and all that stuff. It's only doing like the dialogue, you know?
yeah, I think it depends which service you're on. I think we watched quite a few things on Apple TV as well, and I think they do. It's not all the time, but they do quite a lot of just English subtitles that aren't closed captions because sometimes they have both. They have the closed captions, but they also have just English subtitles.
Mm.
So I think it depends on probably a lot of things to be honest. Rob could probably give more detail to it, but like obviously you've got this the service that is streaming on, but then you also have the production company that they actually make both of those, and there's probably stuff in between as well.
Mm.
It's a bit of a weird thing. I guess it's a budgetary thing because like yeah, I suppose if you're just I mean well, a lot of studios will just use like AI to do closed captions now and kind of like edit it after, but
Yeah, that's why probably like Blu-ray, watching it on the DVD or Blu-ray is probably the best way to see something with the intended subtitles, because it will just be the language you select, and that's the dialogue that you hear. And so if you did the French subtitles, it's all dialogue French.
oh.
English dialogue, that's all English, that's English. And it isn't like audio described or anything like that. So it isn't the closed caption stuff.
You lagged
That's
very
the trouble. Yeah, that's the trouble with it.
sorry.
No, I was saying that's the trouble with Amazon or Netflix. They will try and like overcompensate every single thing that's said or mentioned, and not even mentioned. Obviously, the closed caption describe everything that you can see, which is kind of like the point. But it kind of ruins the immersion of the film. That's why it's at least when you see a foreign language film, it's just the dialogue that's just translated. You don't hear everything translated. It's just like this is just a Japanese subtitle this film, and this is just so and so, and it's like okay, great, I know where I am. But the English subtitle stuff is a bit like down. But yeah, the Blu-rays and DVDs are the best.
Mm.
The first time you said dialogue, you lagged very slightly, and it came across to me as that's the dialogue you hear. I was kind of like, what the fuck?
The dialogue
and then you said
you
dialogue
hear.
again, and I was like, oh.
That's my dog. That's like Matthew McConaughey calling.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah. There was a really random thing. I wasn't quite sure. It didn't matter, but I wonder why they did it. So there was like I can't remember which way around it is, but I think it's this way. So I think in the beginning, it's a very minor detail, but the hotel is apparently in Shinjuku, but the location is quite obviously like Shibuya. But I don't I I assume it was just one of those things. Basically, I don't understand why they wanted to pretend the hotel was in Shinjuku when Shibuya is a fine place to have it, and that's where they did a lot of filming.
I
Or
mean,
did it
like,
just get moved out? Or it just they forgot?
I guess, I mean, like, to be honest, right? It's like if it was in London, and we just use it as London for example. If they say you were in Trafalgar Square, and a lot of things happened at Trafalgar Square, but there's not really a good hotel at Trafalgar Square. You would have to go to, let's say, I don't know, Mayfair to go to the good hotels for your celebrities that you're staying there. And like you can only film during that particular time in Mayfair, but all the events in your story are happening in Trafalgar Square. You wouldn't want your celebrities to stay actually in Trafalgar Square. And it's just like it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those weird like location like oh, you can splice it up a little bit. No one's gonna care too much unless you're like like really. I mean, like you can care about. It's just like something that people don't really think about too much. It's not like a super important detail that they were in Shibuya, but they were in a Park Hyatt in like Tokyo, the Park Hyatt Tokyo, which is not anywhere near that. Because after they crossed the Rainbow Bridge during one of the taxi scenes. You know, the one that goes to the goddamn airport. But they weren't anywhere near an airport during like the final scenes. And it was like, why did you film it? Because it looks nice. That's pretty much why. And it's just like, okay, yeah, it's like it's just extra details you could care about, but it's like it's just because it looks nice. That's pretty much it. It looks nice. It doesn't matter too much. That's why there was a whole section where she just goes to Kyoto by herself, just filming shit. Because it's like it's just nice to look at. It's like, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Oh, what, Alex?
Any more favourite scenes?
Yeah, I better get mine done before I go.
Go on, Pat.
Pat's last bit of his shift.
Oh yeah.
Before I clock out is my favourite scene.
But I can't remember it now.
Oh, sorry.
Sweet.
Nah, but I'm gonna have to shoot anyway.
Are you in work tomorrow? Oh no, you're at cricket tomorrow, aren't you?
7.
Oh, you have to wake up.
Huh?
You have to wake up 7.
Yeah, I'm going to the Oval tomorrow. I've got to be there for like 10:30.
Oh, have fun. Have a good time.
When I think of it, what my favourite scene was, I'll post it in the chat.
Good.
See you.
Look forward to it.
See you in a bit.
Oh, man.
All right. Good to see you.
Mine was the that opening one with the director trying to direct at him, and he's going like, "Sorry, what did he say?" And the assistant's going like, "Oh, it's just this very small sentence," and he's like, "Nah, I won't." But then it's just like, yeah, there's just all these very, very long drawn out things from the director, and her just kind of boiling it down to just this very, very, very bite-sized phrase, and he's just looking more and more confused. I was just like, that's a really nice setting of the tone there.
When I was watching
definitely.
Oh, sorry, son.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's Mike's favorite scene as well, especially when she says cut, and afterwards he asks what's wrong, what's up, you back?
I remember my thing.
Okay, go on, do what your favorite.
It was when he was filming the advert.
Yeah. Everyone, as I say, yeah. It's it's Mike's favorite scene as well, and Alex's favorite scene. Yeah, it's such a memorable thing.
It was just like how frustrated he was getting at the director, because obviously he couldn't work out what he was saying, and he knew that the translator wasn't saying everything that he was saying, and he was like, "Oh fuck it."
Yeah, very much right.
Clem Fandango.
Yeah, yeah, Mike's.
Yeah, so God.
Oh no, as I say, Mike's favorite, Mike's part is the second part of that, where he went cut, and he says like the whole other section of it, and she was like, "Yeah, look more, say it more slower with more intensity," and it was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, and he was like, Mike has been like, "What the fuck does that mean? More intensity? What do you mean? Like, what is the what with my eyes, with my face? Will you want me to say it rougher?" It was like, "Say it slower, more intensity." Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, Suntory time, and he says it with more intensity, but he still gets cut. It's just like, oh, fuck you.
I think
it's just like, yeah.
I think he should have just done like a devil voice. He should have just gone like,
"The good times, by Suntory times."
Such shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I think
Good pick.
Okay, right at the end, like that's okay, like in Japanese, like that'll do kind of thing. But what's kind of funny is that even though she's only really saying a few words, it kind of is what he's saying if you really boil it down.
No, Emmanuel. It's like when you want to direct your actor to do dirty emotions, or like.
I'm not saying it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Also, not a good translation. It's like she basically took the straight translation of a few words and then just said those few words. But technically, she kind of said what he said in a few words. But that not that helps. But she technically wasn't wrong. She just wasn't helpful.
Yeah. I mean, which is not like a good thing either. Like it's like, because he said certain things which I heard and translated, but it was essentially turn to the right to face the camera. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
And she's like, look into the camera. Look at it. He's like, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Let's do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, he was more like, besides the intensity, he was like you really care about like this, like with a lot of emotion, because Santoria is really, obviously it's really good. Like this is a not celebration. I can't remember what he was saying.
Essentially he was, if I remember correctly, like the first babble of words were you gotta look at the camera like you're meeting an old friend, and you have to say it in a sophisticated way. That's what he's trying to say in the first one. And afterwards, on the second spiel, he's like, Bobo-san, do you understand? This is Hibiki. You know, the fucking very rare, like, special edition. It's not your average whiskey. It's something special. You gotta say it with more passion. He actually says passion in English. And, like, I'm pretty sure he says passion in English. And then it's like, she was like, more intensity. Okay, sure, right. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? More intensity, yeah, okay.
Pat,
all right,
you
now
need to go.
I'm going now.
Oh yeah, go back. Yeah, you go.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
All right, cheers. Yeah. Yeah, definitely like favorite scenes for a lot of people, and I mean it is memorable, right? So that explains what's also like. Yeah, everyone's great with it. Actually, not going back to it now. I'm just trying to think about what my favorite scene is, because it's hard. Because like there is a good scene itself. There's the second like filming of when they're actually doing like the photo shoots, and they're like, I guess it's like behind the scenes of like watching doing the films, right? Essentially, it's like they're going like you see him with like the clips on the back of his suit, and they're filming, and it's just like all that stuff. It's like a very behind the scenes sort of like concept for like well, photo stuff, but it makes sense because that's how they do it in like actual life. And he's like, yeah, how do you want me to do it? You know, film it Rat Pack style, and you go film it like Roger Moore. I mean, like I'm more of a Sean Connery person myself, but it's just like it's a very nice thing. You're just seeing all that. I guess my favorite like scene is because it's the most awkward scene in the whole goddamn movie. Even more awkward than the massage scene at like near the front of the movie. It's where he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, meet me at this bar." Okay, sure. Let's go to this bar.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, let's go to the Citrus. What's it called? Like Citrus or some nonsense. It's got this name, and he's just sitting there. The lady's just dancing, and it's like, don't know if this is the right place. And she's just sitting there very awkwardly. And she's like, "Hey, you've been here long?" I mean, I couldn't really say, you know. He's just like, you're just enjoying the vibe. Afterwards, it's like and she sits there trying to enjoy the vibe as well, I guess. And it's just like, do you want to get a drink? And she's like, let's get out of here. Yes, let's get out of here. Okay, let's all get out of here at the same time. Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the right etiquette was. No, I think his etiquette was very polite to say, do you want to get a drink or anything? I don't know what's happening here. It's like, yeah. But it's like, no, let's get the fuck out of here. Which is like more correct.
Don't forget how he leaves.
What do you mean?
He walks around to the stripper's fanny and goes, "Thank you," and then like,
oh yeah,
that's great. Oh man, well, I really liked the how he said. She asked, "Oh, where's like one of the guys they had met the other day?" That I think he's having some dancing lessons. And then,
it's great.
Oh, those kind of dancing lessons, yes. It's just like, what is going on? Yeah. Oh yeah, she was actually the one that showed up to his room as well. Like I think she was an actual escort, technically. But not actually, escort's probably the wrong word.
Oh no.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Anyway, it still brings up more questions of how he ended up. I don't know how this lady came when he needed just a massage. But anyway,
his somebody he worked with sent her to his room. He didn't know she was coming. Somebody else sent that woman to his room.
Oh yeah, I think it was from like one of the dudes in the production company. That's what it was.
Actually, yes. He yeah. Actually, that was yeah. Yeah. I think I'm mixing that with like a story he was telling Charlotte. But yeah, that I forgot about that. That takes the piss.
Oh, I mean, lost in translation, like, oh, he wants a service. That's the type of service he goes, okay, I know the right number for that. And it might have been something like that, who knows?
Can I just say, you're doing a fantastic job of crowbarring Lost in Translation into every single sentence. It's really something.
Yeah, but like, essentially, it's what happened with like the Lost in Translation is what happened with the titles when they translate it into like in other countries, because like in other countries it's something like being lost in Tokyo in when they try to translate in Spanish, but like after other people are like, what does lost in translation mean in the movie? It doesn't make sense. So I would just say like getting lost in Tokyo, or like if it's in like Russian, it's like disappearing in Tokyo or something like that. But all of that is technically being lost in translation, and that's what makes it the pinnacle of the movie. It's like it's the most literal version of that phrase, and it's like it's great. That makes it like better than I expected it to be.
They're having fun with it, kind of like with
Yep.
the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are those plushies in Alex screen?
I thought I see a Avengers one. It looks like a Tom Berry and a blue cat. I can't see what it is
The
exactly.
blue cat is Bulbasaur.
Is that a Bulbasaur?
Yeah, that's Bulbasaur.
Oh, wait, I see it. Yeah. I see it at the angle, right. It's got its eyes closed and it's sleeping, and the green part is the bulb of Bulbasaur, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I couldn't tell at this angle, or at the angle he uses. Okay, that's nice. Okay, anyone else for favorite scenes? Ben?
I don't really have anything to say because everyone's kind of covered them all, really.
Yep.
Pat covered the advert. You guys covered all the other important ones. Yeah, so I honestly, it's been done.
Okay.
It's good.
Been done, Hogan.
Nice.
What was yours though?
Oh, it'd be like when he's recording the whiskey advert. That's definitely one of the most funniest moments of the film. And obviously the karaoke scenes, and then the final exchange when they said goodbye. I think it was probably one of my most favorite, most poignant moments. The final goodbye, not the first goodbye, not the second goodbye, but the third goodbye.
Almost missed it. Again.
It's good.
There we go. Came in on the soundbar.
Wow. Does anyone have any other tidbits or whatnot to add? I forgot to look up much trivia, to be honest.
I mean,
That's
most
okay.
of the trivia is just whiskey based, and most of the all the stuff about her dad filming one of the first Suntory adverts, and her filming the 100th Suntory adverts, and all the Suntory adverts all kind of mixed into this film, and how this film mixes into like real life with Suntory whiskey. It's just like it's a very like it makes it very like circular. It makes it very like it ties a nice like bow at the end of like it's all started because my dad made advert with Akira Kurosawa, and it was like that's nice.
Yeah, I was just like, and then it kind of reminded me. I was just like, wait, is Sophia Nicolas Cage's cousin or something else or blah blah blah? It's like and then looked at the family tree. It's like yes, it is a cousin. Yeah, because I forgot.
Okay, I didn't know that at all. Really, Sophia Coppola's Nicolas?
Uncle.
No.
Yeah,
Did no one else
did
know that?
Nicolas Cage change his name? Like, was he born a Coppola?
And
did
He was born a Coppola, but he didn't want to like ride off of Francis Ford's like success, so he called himself Cage.
Oh, okay.
Uncle.
Did not know that as well.
What's the other Coppola's? Is there other famous ones?
What?
Rob, are there other famous ones that are like really famous?
Oh, there's loads of them, man. Like, obviously Francis Ford Coppola is the most famous, but yeah, there's loads of them that are in like theatre and whatever.
Cause I've seen the family tree. I just don't know like who, like besides Nicolas Cage, the Francis, and now I guess Sophia for like doing this kind of stuff. I don't know like who else is like
Probably
famous.
like the one that surprises people is Jason Schwartzman.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Really? Oh, I don't know. That sounds vaguely familiar.
So I think Francis Ford Coppola is his uncle. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, right. I see. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Something to Nicolas Cage and Jason Schwartzman. Okay, that's okay. Did not know. Yeah. Cool. It's just like, I was like, I just did not know about this at all. I didn't know. I mean, I guess it's. I mean, you could say it's like nepotism, but it's like I don't think that's true because like they purposely, like with Nicolas Cage especially, like didn't want the Coppola name, purposely wanted it to be someone else, just to live, and like he is like his Pat's favorite actor, so it's great. It's like yeah.
Oh, do you know? Do you know the other one that surprises people as well? Actually, is Adrian.
Rocky?
No, not Rocky. Adrian.
No.
Adrian is from. Oh, well, I've got the thumb as well now. Oh, it's because I'm scratching. Yeah, no. Adrian is Francis Ford Coppola's sister, I think.
Yeah, Talia Shire.
Oh, I had no idea. Wow.
I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like it's like they're not like high profile people, but like they're like quite well respected people. But yeah, people don't put them together. To be honest, you wouldn't even put unless the only reason you do is because of the surname. But you wouldn't put Sophia Coppola and Francis Ford Coppola together if you didn't know they were father and daughter.
Sophia Coppola.
I don't know whose pick it is next, but
It's Ebony's.
Yeah, it's Eb.
oh yeah, of course.
That's right.
He's the last.
Just little old me, the last one who hasn't had a turn yet, but everyone forgets. That's all right.
All right.
Well,
I mean, I guess there's
this-
any other final thoughts before we get to Eb's choice? Nope. All right.
Good.
Controversial pick you keep warning us about.
Yeah, I am sorry about this. I tried to talk her out of it, but nah. We watched it the other day, and we went, that was a lot worse than I remembered. And yeah, we came to an agreement on that. We were just like, that was just dog shit. But yeah, we felt that during this round between Swan Song, Ghost, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Defending Your Life, and Lost in Translation, it's all a little bit too competent around here. I feel like we're gonna lull our guests into a false sense of security. So we've decided to go with the dark underbelly of Film Club. Sometimes we just have to watch a load of fucking shit. So what we've decided is a cult classic, musical, goth, sci-fi, something or other. Not starring Paris Hilton, but Paris Hilton is in it. It's called Repo, the Genetic Opera.
What the fuck?
What?
That was when you
And it's nothing to do with Repo Men.
The rest of me.
When you said Paris Hilton, me, Emmanuel, and Corey all went.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Yeah, this is but the running thing with Ebb films is Paris Hilton shows up a weird amount. We don't know why, but yeah.
But you said you watched it again recently, and he said it was bad, but she still chose it.
She still chose it. Yeah, it's still a cult classic, and you know she still likes. There is in particular one song that will stick in your head for about 3 days.
What a cast! You've got Paris Hilton, Paul Sorvino, and Anthony Head.
It's one of those ones where you go like, yeah. Sorry, one of them is like an actor from The Godfather. No. It's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas,
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just watching it, and I was just like, this is worse. This is actually a bit worse. And she was like, yeah, I agree.
Would you say
So-
it's worse than Mamma Mia or better than Mamma Mia?
So that's a loaded question for me at the minute. And also, I've never seen Mamma Mia, so I don't know.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
There's no ABBA in Mamma Mia.
What about worse than
wait.
like Shark Boy and Lava Girl? Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah, it is a bit.
Worse than Greatest Showman.
Definitely worse than Greatest Showman.
I'm gonna really enjoy this film for the sake of being twisted.
Simon, I'm going to be impressed if any of you finish it, because honestly, the last time we watched it, I didn't want to.
Well, we got through Tokyo Gold Police. I doubt it's worse than that.
Yeah, is it worse than Tokyo?
Whoa, your face makes it a challenge. Oh wow!
You know what? I think that probably is going to be the bone of contention. I personally think that. Oh, I don't want to say Reaper has a story. It's got more of a story than Tokyo Gore Police, I think, and there's less just. Sorry, Tokyo Gore Police is like the worst film we've ever watched, Corey. It was just sort of like going to be like a showcase of all like these just like reject VFX people, and like there's just so much. There's so much just shit, like just VFX. There's a girl whose bottom half of her body is like a giant lizard head. Like it's just dreadful.
Yeah, it's already horrendous.
I'm gonna take the stance this is like slightly better, but not much. Really not much.
Pat's gonna be happy because the soundtrack is 56 songs long.
Really?
Oh, I'm not. This is. Musicals can be really hit and miss with me, and so
this is a miss. This is such a miss. This is the biggest miss you'll ever see.
This could be one song that I probably will enjoy, and I've got to sing it. I'll be like, God damn it, it's stuck in my head. I don't know when it's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen.
I'm sorry for doing this. I really am. I should have been.
Soundtrack called "Blame Not My Cheeks."
Yeah.
But why?
I wish I had more of a backbone like Rob did when Rachel went to split Mamma Mia, and he said no. I should have done that, but I didn't. And
so it's worse than Rebel Moon Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say it is.
Oh.
Sorry, I am kind of painting in a bad light. I was also complicit. So I do think it is funny, and I do think we haven't had a shit movie in a while. So I'm taking a hit.
Wow.
Wait,
so someone's
I am aiming
out for him.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like bad, but like. Oh, okay. We'll discuss that another time. But like, budget. Yeah, okay.
If you want to have the worst movie of the round, like good luck. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I am sorry. If any of you finish it, there's a medal in the post.
Well, I just realised who the director was. He did Saw 2, and that's just like. And that's just like
that should be enough.
Yeah, it's not Saw, not Saw. Where it's like a very interesting like budget film, right? It's like Saw 2, where it's like it's just like. No,
this guy. Okay. This guy's filmography is brilliant. His filmography goes Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Repo. Never does another Saw again.
I'm not. Does he just have like no work after them? Does it just end with Repo?
All of his work after is just it's like one's called Mother's Day, one's called 11/11/11, one's called Avatar.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Interestingly, one's called The Cello.
Yeah,
I'm well excited.
Yeah, this
So
is
we're
just
not-
But where is it? Do we have to pay to see it?
It's on YouTube.
It's
For
It's-
free?
Where
No,
to
£5.
watch? Where to watch Repo the Genetic Opera? So Corey, apparently there's something going on. There's a social gathering going on next weekend, so we're going to skip a week. So reconvene on the 10th.
Right.
Oh,
I don't know if didn't know if anyone told you.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, never mind.
Oh, there you go, guys. It's on Apple TV apparently.
Yay, our favourite.
yeah.
Film
I don't
club's
want-
favourite.
App TV.
No. What's it called again? Repo.
I'll put it in the
Gene-
spreadsheet, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's Repo the Genetic.
Re-
Repo has an exclamation mark after it. That's how you know it's very serious.
Repo Man.
It's on Amazon.
Okay, so yeah, Apple TV, Amazon, and YouTube.
oh man, I'm just looking at the name of the songs just for the sake of it. Let's start seeing what the fuck is this shit. It's
Just remember, the earlier you watch it, the more you'll have to remember in 2 weeks' time. So feel free to put this off.